and welcome to episode 80 of Flix in the Six. 80 of Flix in the Six. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Costanzo. With me, forever and always, the man, the myth, the true believer, Alessandro Bielsi. Say hello, Al.
I'm pretty disappointed because I just assumed you were going to call me the Flurkin.
I thought about it. I had the two things I had on there were the accuser and the Flurkin, but given that tribute to Stan, since this entire movie is a tribute to Stan.
I completely forgot to text you about that. I tried to live up to your hatred of people being on their phone in the movie theater. How cool was the credits with just all the different Stan Lees instead of the heroes?
That was it's so good. Well, more on that later. On this week's episode, we have multiple trailers to discuss, along with other assorted news and nuggets, including a ranking of Keanu Reeves action flicks. All before diving into our flick of the week, Captain Marvel. But first, Al, what are we drinking? I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you beforehand that we were doing that because I thought you might just shut me down. But once it's out there, we have to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it what are we drinking or is it what are we cleaning up off of everything?
It was a disaster.
I don't understand how it's literally you all the time, and it's happened to me like one time.
Let me ask you this. If a beer is very cold,
yeah,
will it cause that to happen?
I guess it can, because it'll be more carbonated the colder it is, because gases dissolve into liquids at colder temperatures.
The story that you don't have is that I opened the beer to pour it, thought, I'm going to get a head start on this. I'm going to pour it, I'm going to be all set up, put my feet up, get my notes ready, ease into the show, open the beer, volcano. It was a science project. And I did
everywhere. Take my bottle out before you did, because it's an IPA. I wanted to let it warm up slightly.
Sure.
But the thing is, it's not just that, where maybe yours was colder than mine, because this has happened when we've recorded together.
Yeah. Am I doing beer wrong?
Yes, and that's what I'm confused, because I'm not sure what
I'm
it is.
I'm going to need you to watch me like a hawk.
I'm not sure what it is we're doing wrong, but there's been multiple times where you and I have recorded face-to-face, and you've spilled your beer everywhere as well, including on me, and I don't get
Am I slamming it on the table or something?
I don't know, because it's happened to me one or two times, and it's happened to you easily 15 times.
But you know it's I think what's really getting to me is that it's not right when I open it. I open it, the cap hits the table, seconds pass, couple Mississippis, at least, and then it's a volcano.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I watched you go through your ordeal. Mm-hmm. Laughed.
It seemed like a standard beer opening procedure, correct?
Yeah. No, I watched you go through the ordeal of oh god, I'm covered in beer, let me clean this up. Yeah. And heard you open the door and oh my god, and Kim's what happened? Which hey Kim. And over the course of 90 seconds after we opened this beer and you began your cleaning process, I turn and look at my beer and the teeniest little nose of foam was poking up above the lip of the beer bottle, and that was it. And it was the very fluffy foam where it's it wasn't in any risk of it's got nice, it was it was just barely peeking up above where it was the foam, not liquidy foam.
Yeah, no, I got you. I understand.
What's sitting on the top of my beer right now. Also, how do you like this?
That's
dramatically
a beer glass.
Too tall and skinny glass.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where you make a dramatic statement right before you leave, and you finish your beer, and you do it in such a way that you obviously your arm is flexed as you're taking that last sip, but it goes on just a little too long, just a little bit, because it's such a long glass. It's one sip, but it takes 5 seconds to finish.
The thing is, it's basically the next closest thing to the DOS boot, where it catapults the beer towards you if you take a dramatic sip like that.
You tilt and it shoots.
Yes.
Yeah. Air bubbles.
Anyway, getting to this beer, it's a bubble.
What are we?
We're drinking Otter Creek Brewing Company's Backseat Berner, spelled with an E instead of a U, IPA. It's from our stash to your glass, or to all over you. It's 7.0% alcohol by volume. There are 68 IBUs. Load up your buds and partake in this flavorful road trip of juicy hops. There was one other thing on this bottle, if I can find it.
It just says in the bottom right corner of the label, ale.
Oh, here we go. Creatively crafting, hopping, and dosing brews since 1991. Cheers.
I'd cheers you, but I'm afraid of the repercussions. Cheers. Ooh, that was a clinky. Oh, yeah.
I said I thought you'd like it because the juicy hops is what got...
You're saying the words I like. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I figured. I didn't say anything about Citra, but I know you've been enjoying the New England-style IPAs, and what better for a New England-style IPA.
This is nice. This is really tasty. Ooh.
Middlebury, Vermont. I would drink the hell out of these, and they're strong. So
I see you, Otter Creek. I see you. I like the mystery machine on the front. Yeah.
Well, it's like the cross between the mystery machine and the generic burnt orange Volkswagen Astrovan. Like,
what about that dog?
No, those different things.
What about that dog with the with that tie-dye scarf?
That hippie pup.
Love him. That's great.
And there's also, it looks like there's some like flannel. There's flannel going
with
on.
A cigarette burn in it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh wait, where?
Underneath IPA, there's a hole in the flannel.
Oh, nice. I didn't even notice that. That's what, my finger was actually on that. But yeah, it's up around the neck of the bottle. That's where it first caught me, and then I realized it was also in the background behind the. And I like how in the back it looks like it's like parked next to some bushes, but the bushes are actually just upside down hops.
Yep. This is great.
This is a good bottle. We haven't had good can art in a while. It's been
a bit.
It's for a very nice beer, and it's as cloudy as a New England style should be. Did you notice how chunky it was too?
Yeah. Yep. I noticed it. I'm out of it. It blew chunks in my glass. Is that what happened? I opened it and it was so potent that I just became drunk before drinking it.
No, I didn't say drunk. I said you're shook.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah, I'm actually you know what it is? I know where the show's going. Right? I know where today's going to go. I know how this is going to play out. I'm certain that this beer is finished before we get to the movie, and that makes me sad.
Oh, yeah, I can see how. But you know what? Don't look at it in just the bad way. There's some good stuff going on.
I'll eat my cake.
We had a good movie. We have a good beer. We have some good news and notes and nuggets. We have some good news that we'll be sharing with the fans eventually. What's that?
That's true. I said we have some Keanu Reeves nonsense that I'm going to drop on you.
We have exciting news for the Spin Tune that we will not be divulging to you right now.
No.
But within a matter of weeks, we're pretty excited about it, and we hope you will be too.
We got some stuff. Shall we? Oh, well, actually, about this beer, we said we have to go back to our old ways. This gets my thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
I would expect so. I really like this. I would definitely drink this again, preferably in a bottle that does not have an X marking the spot.
Yeah, what's that about?
So what happened was...
Booby trapped!
From the first batch of beers that I bought when the beer place near me finally started doing, like, make your own 6-packs. So I'm assuming it was some sort of demarcation that this was to be part of that group of, like, loose bottles.
Okay. I guess I can allow that. I thought it was more insidious.
Of course, between how chunky the beer was and the X marking the spot, I was worried that it was like past its like sell-by date.
I think I've let this go on long enough. Chunky, you get one chunky. You get one chunky per description, and that's it. Shall we dive in? First, what did you just say?
So sorry, I didn't notice.
You monster. All right. First story. There's a lot of people. This is probably going to be a lot of these conversations today. There's a lot of people that are really angry about this Aladdin trailer and the genie. They're really not happy about the genie.
Well, I didn't hear it around the trailer because it was really loud around when the first still of him being blue came out. Although I didn't see anger, I just saw laughter. There was just mockery of it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I sent you the.
I don't get the mockery. I
sent you the picture of him and Tobias when he blew himself.
Yes,
right?
That was funny.
That's what I'm saying. I saw laughter and mockery, not anger.
but more vicious mockery. I feel like not fun things like the thing you sent me.
Oh, I just saw like incessant mockery. Like, I mean, it was laughing at them, not with them.
There was
like it didn't seem like it was definitely laughing and like condescension, but it didn't seem hateful.
There were tons of just like trying to be like really funny and like sarcastic and dry. Like, Will Smith's genie is Will Smith, but blue.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't see any of that stuff, but
sure, but yeah. Like, I don't understand. What were you thinking it was going to be?
Well, I mean, I guess I have to see more footage, but based on what I've seen, it looked like, because they're going with the live action and therefore slightly more based in realism, that the blue thing was largely going to just be a callback, and that it's just going to be Will Smith blending in as because it looks like he's going to be a part of the goings-on instead of just with Aladdin, you know what I mean?
No, he's blue. The new trailer's out. He's in it.
No, I saw the trailer, but
blue
I saw
running around like crazy.
Was he?
Yeah.
Or maybe I didn't see that one.
There's a new one. There's a new one that is playing alongside Captain Marvel.
Oh no, because I saw something online like within the past few days, and I saw him like during like the Prince Ali type of thing, and he was like in the festivities.
Oh yeah, I saw
normal.
That too. Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. I assumed that meant that he was gonna not do much of the blue thing, because it seems like he's gonna be more of an actual character, part of the goings on, and thus far, because of that, he's gonna need to blend in and not be blue.
Doesn't he do something like that in the original animated film?
You know, I've seen the movie a million times, though probably not in 20 years.
Sure. All I'm saying is I love Aladdin.
I don't recall him doing a lot a actually.
I don't think there's a lot of it. I don't think there will be a lot of it either. I think it's just going to be. I mean, probably a few things, but regardless, I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to be really good. I love Aladdin. I'm really happy to see a live action version of it.
No, I mean, I'm at least interested. When I first heard they were doing it, I was like, that's kind of dumb. But like, although that's kind of the thing I felt about all the live action things.
Sure.
But no, like, I'll probably want to see it if for no other reason than nostalgia. I'm not going to see it for Will Smith because he hasn't made a good movie in 15 years.
That's not at all the reason I'm seeing it. I love Aladdin, and I'm not really insulted that he's going to be the genie. I do like him.
He's really the only name in the movie.
Yeah, that's fine. Good.
But I just based on the very little I've heard and seen, I like the actor and actress they chose to be Aladdin and Jasmine. I'm sure they've announced it. I don't even know who's playing Jafar. The one bit of him I saw in the trailer, it's his back and you hear his voice.
Right.
So I'm not even sure who it is. Is that someone famous? Do you know?
I don't know. I could look it up.
It's not important. I was just curious.
I'm pretty sure Iago is someone famous, though.
Well, I did see something. What's his name? Gilbert Gottfried's mad that they didn't bring him back.
But do you know who it is?
No.
I'm 90% certain. I'm just going to look it up before I tell you.
Well, I was just going to look it up at this point, too. Because
perfect.
I think...
Yeah, I'm right. It's Alan Tudyk.
Oh, yeah. I was saying, like, that sounds... Like, I knew it was someone that I knew, because I remember, like, hearing that it was a thing, but I don't... Like, I didn't know who it was. I couldn't remember.
Oh. Winston's wife... They get married, Winston? Right? At the end of New Girl? Do they get married?
Oh. Yeah. Allie?
Yeah. Nasim Pedrad?
Yeah, her.
She's in it.
Ah, interesting.
Jafar is Marwan Kenzari.
Yeah, I'm looking him up. You know who he was? Not that I would have, like, recognized him, but he was one of the people on the train in the Murder on the Orient Express.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The one, the one who was with, like, the girl who was the actress or whatever.
Cool. Yep. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, I'm excited. I love Aladdin, and I really want to see this. That's all. I just stop being angry. We're going to talk more about people being angry when we get to Captain Marvel, but stop being angry. Just everything's fine.
Oh, Naveed Nagaban is what's it called? The one playing the Sultan. That's kind of cool. That's good because usually he just gets to play like terrorists.
That's it on Aladdin. This is this is trailer talk right now, and we're gonna end it with one that's an obvious one. So moving on to the next one. Did you see that Dumbo trailer?
Yeah, It actually makes me mad.
I don't think it looks good.
Well, there's that too. Although I will say, Danny DeVito is perfectly cast.
Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton looks really creepy, and I I want to see both of those. I want to see the two of them.
It's a toss-up between his casting as the Penguin and his casting in this role of what, like, the role that he was, like, literally born to play. Like, his best role is Frank Reynolds in Always Sunny, but, like, a lot of people could play some version of that. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying any of them would play it better than him, but visually speaking, he was, like, born to play this role and born to play the Penguin.
Yeah, him as the Penguin is so iconic.
Right?
It's just absurd.
Like, that's just what I think of when I think of, like, because there's been a couple of iconic takes on the Joker, like, you get more than one. When I think Penguin, I think Danny DeVito.
It's so funny because
vice versa, actually.
When I rewatched that movie, like, not that long ago, it never dawned on me early on just how raunchy his character is, and it's disgusting and disturbing.
I do remember watching that movie when I was probably like 5 or 6 years old. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it might have been like, and I saw it a couple of times, like, in that time period, and I haven't seen it since.
Right.
Like, it's literally been over 20 years since I've seen that movie.
We should make that happen.
Even being a young kid watching that movie and knowing this movie is too mature for me.
Yeah, yeah. It's
like, I remember
it's a dark one.
Somehow having the presence of mind to be like, this wasn't intended for me as an adult.
Ma, I'm gonna ground myself.
No, but the thing is, like, I watched it with my parents. You know, it's like I stuck and watched it.
Right.
I don't know. It's that was one that I remember being uncomfortable with as a young child. Like, I don't think that I'm supposed to be watching this movie. Should we do like
a voiceover show for it, like a Mystery Science Theater style for Batman Returns? Should that be our first one?
It's either that or Batman and Robin.
Oh God! You know what? I don't know if I don't know that I'm ready.
I mean, realistically, we should have done it for the Star Wars Holiday Special, but
no, not bringing other people into that. We did it close enough with the recording. That was horrendous.
It's been nearly 3 months since we dropped that episode. Can we now, like, spoil that we did that?
That's what it was. Yeah,
our untitled holiday episode.
We hit it long enough. Anyway, that Dumbo trailer looks weird. The movie doesn't look. I don't really remember Dumbo. It was not one of the ones that I was big on as a kid.
So the thing is, I don't remember it well, but I remember it always depressed me as a kid.
Mm.
I watched it a couple times as a kid, and again, it's been a very long time since I've seen that movie too. But that one was by choice. I just don't like the movie. Like, it makes me sad, and I don't want that out of an animated movie.
Sure.
So I don't plan on ever watching that movie again. I honestly don't really plan on watching this movie because
unless
the commercial makes me sad.
Unless there's some, like, big stirrings around, like, how great it is, I don't intend to go see it.
It just makes me sad.
Yeah, that's fair. Cool. Now, what's more important is that trailer that I woke up to this morning.
Oh, that Endgame trailer, though?
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? We could discuss this for the rest of the night.
Did you watch it before or after I texted you?
Oh, right after.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I woke up to your text, I feel like.
Oh, nice. Sleeping in a little today. Nice.
Was it?
Yeah, no, like, that honestly, like, gave me chills.
Yeah, it was yeah, I got it too. I was right there with you. I fully expect during the runtime of Endgame, maybe like 3/4. No, we're gonna go 2/3. Transition from second to third act. A single tear will roll down my right cheek. I don't know what it's gonna be about, but I feel like they're gonna get at least one because it's really funny. These movies are important to us at this point. We know they are. We love them. They've been a part of our lives for the last 10 years, which is a hell of a relationship. And it's like I'm
11,
going.
It's very vast. It's rapidly approaching 11 years now.
Yeah, it's absurd. Now, what's crazy is the way that they did. They just pulled on the heartstrings of everybody that has been there from the beginning, that loves where this all started, that remembers where this all started, and they just did it so well. the black and white cuts with droplets of color. Like, come on. Like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't know why you're doing this to me. I appreciate it. It's amazing. But, like, you're getting absurd emotions out of me for a 2-minute and 30-second trailer.
About superheroes.
It's a superhero movie. It's a movie about spandex and flying. Like, it's absurd. And the opening sequence is... It's like a pan over of when Iron Man crashed his first suit that he made when he was in the cave, and it's just a pan over in black and white. And what blew my mind is the second it started, I knew what it was, and I was like, "Whoa, wow, you guys are in my brain."
The first half of that trailer, we've discussed it a couple of times, and I don't know that I've coined the phrase. I think I've seen it in the time since we've discussed it. I just don't know if I saw it and said it or if someone else had seen it. And like, this was a new brand of weaponized nostalgia.
Yeah.
And like, not actually in a bad way, actually probably in the good way, if it can be good. Because like, if you want to get nostalgia and extract the feels from someone, which is exactly what it did, you do that thing. Like, I've never seen that exact thing. You've seen other trailers or things before where they're referencing something in the past, like even some of the Star Wars stuff, right? But most of it's been more subtle. This was, no, we're doing this to you.
Yep.
You know we're doing it to you. We know that you know we're doing it to you. You know what I mean? Like, there was no subtlety on purpose.
Right. Yeah, 100%. This, you know what this was? I mean, I fully believe there were maybe somebody was like slowly sneaking up on me to kill me. But in what is it? Fantastic Beasts, the second one, when they put you in the chair and then they put the chair over the water and then they put your fondest memories in the water. That's what it felt like. Like that. And I was at ease. And I was like, I feel at home. These are my people. And then like it closes with like the one more time. One more time. And I was like, oh, what's gonna happen? Tony, no. Tony, no. I'm terrified and excited. I can't wait for this movie. And first trailer, when they're inside of the hangar and they're walking, they are not wearing the clothes that they're wearing in this version of the trailer, I don't think. If they are, it's the way it's skewed, you can't tell that they're wearing new outfits. And second is there's clearly a gap in the characters walking across screen, and now we know who those two characters are because they show them in this trailer, and it's Tony and Nebula. And I
didn't actually see Tony, but I saw Nebula, so I just assumed he was there too, and I didn't get a chance to rewatch the trailer yet.
It's both of
them. But
them.
I saw her, and I was like, oh, we got confirmation she's going to make it to Earth at some point. That's kind of cool.
And I just assume, like, now my brain is just, like, running rampant with ideas. And it's just like, okay, so those are suits that Tony made for them so that they can go into the quantum realm somehow. Like, because they're with Scott. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't care. It's going to be amazing. Like, yeah, you know, there's, like, that thing where it's hard to write, like, an unbiased review, right? Because there are things that you like and there are things that you dislike. I know that I'm going to praise this movie probably way more than it should be. I'm going to be upfront about this. I'm going to love this thing. This thing, this thing has a 10 right now, and it needs to knock points off as I watch it.
Well, it's going to be the way, like, when I walked out of having seen The Dark Knight Rises, I was like, man, that was so great.
Yeah.
But part of that was because I was punch drunk from having watched the first two right before it, and us being in that movie theater for 12 hours. But the other part of it was, I went in with such high expectations, and it met a lot of them at the time, and it did so many things that were so cool that I was so anticipatory of, and so many things that I couldn't have anticipated in a good way, that it took me several re-watches to realize, oh, okay, there's plenty of good in here, but
it's flawed.
There's also quite a lot of flaws.
Sure.
Whereas it's not a bad movie, but it's also not a great movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's got high highs and low lows.
7 in a sea of 10s. It's
yeah. So like this movie will, I think, like you're saying, has the starting point of when I walk out, it would be hard for me to say it's anything but great.
Right. It's anything but the best Marvel movie we've ever seen.
And it may require multiple viewings to get a true sense of what it is and isn't. And even to a certain extent, that may be true in my own mind of how I feel about Infinity War because I still have only seen it the one time.
Yeah, I've rewatched it multiple times since then. I remember, I love it. I do love it.
But even I can tell there's some
stuff.
There's some connective tissue that is not perfect in that movie. That I'm sure, like even not having rewatched it after the elation subsided, I know that there are issues. It's just to me, I don't know what level they are. You know what I mean?
You know what it is? I think I could pinpoint it for you. Is they don't handle the number of characters they need to handle with the grace with which they did it in the first Avengers. Which
makes sense because there's roughly 3 times as many characters.
Right. And that's what it is. There's a rapid pacing. We do have to jump, because we need to show you all these people because this whole thing that we're talking about affects everyone. What's amazing is that they did tie them together really well. They made it work. It like crazy. It needed to be longer.
Yeah, and it sounds like Endgame will be.
I don't want to leave. I want to be in the theater for 7 hours. I don't want to leave.
I think it's been soft confirmation that it's going to be 3 hours long. Or at least that there was a cut that was roughly 3 hours long, and they may have pared it down. Give
me that one. I don't need the cut down. Give me that one. Don't even put the Hulk in it. Just have Mark Ruffalo running around with the dots on him. Give me that one.
Well, the thing is, the movie's done. They announced it like a week ago, right? That like the movie's done. The final cut has been submitted. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they've yet confirmed what the runtime is,
or have rated it yet.
That too.
Or they haven't put the PG-13 stamp on it yet.
I mean, I'm assuming that's what it'll be.
I mean, get back.
Be kind of cool if they gave this one, just this one, the hard on.
Don't do this.
Also, brief side note. It sounds like they're more or less committed to Deadpool continuing to be rated R.
Yes.
Which isn't to say that they won't gently
it has to be.
Guide them away from certain things that they've done.
I think that it'll just be better.
I think they'll probably be like, hey, tone it down on some of the very graphic sexual stuff. But outside of that, I think they'll still let them do everything they've been doing.
They could just do it and not put the Disney logo on it.
Can they, though?
Yeah, they could. They could.
You know how many billions of dollars that Disney paid?
No, we'll see what happens. I can't even think about that right now because Endgame.
Sure. No, just that specific.
No, I know what you mean.
Think of that. But yeah, no. I'm like, I mean, we knew we're on board for this. Like, it's gonna happen.
I got questions.
Okay.
Female voice doing the voiceover that I don't recognize. And granted, this could just be because there's 100 characters.
There was narration?
Yeah.
Of the whole trailer, the same voice?
It wasn't narration. It was clearly like a line of someone talking to somebody else in the movie, but used to voice over scenes early on in the trailer.
Do you remember what the line was? Because that's already blanked.
I don't. It was a little. There was an accent to it. I just couldn't figure it. Well, we'll have to figure that one out after this. But oh my god.
Yeah, it's like honestly, like I don't even forget about remembering the content. I'm actually like struggling to remember that it happened. You know what I mean?
Can we talk about how badass Jeremy Renner looks? Kidding me? Are you kidding me with that? With the new costume?
It's divided on that.
I don't care about the internet. He looks like a badass now.
Well, I saw some of that, and I also saw someone say. It was like, what was the line? It was, when your barber disappeared halfway through the thing due to the snap, or
oh my god,
halfway through your haircut due to the snap.
That's amazing. It's
and
more
it's a
like
shot of him in profile with the mohawk.
He was teaching his daughter how to shoot that bow and arrow, and I assume that when he turns back to look at the target and then turns back to look at her, she's not going to be there. Like that's what I assume is going to happen, and then he's going to shave his head, but like. It should have been him being just nuts, right? Like out of control and just buzzer straight down the middle. Like that should have been like just crazy with the hair flopping left and right. Like just like, could you imagine instead of making him a badass, could you imagine they just made him nuts? That would be a twist.
So the hemispheres reverse mohawk.
I want him to be Steve Buscemi at the end of Armageddon. like like wanting to carry a nuke to Thanos.
Slim Pickens riding the bomb, like
be amazing. So good. The you know what's good on you, Marvel, for keeping it constant. We got a post credits part of the trailer. I love that. I love when the trailer ends. You get the title, you get the date, fades, it's all black, and then something else happens.
Wait, there was a post credits in the trailer?
Yeah. After the logo comes up in the date, it goes to black, and then it cuts back in, and it's Thor approaching Captain Marvel.
Oh, sorry. In my mind, I thought that happened before the logo. That
it's well done.
It was the first thing I did when I woke up, as I saw that was out, and I watched it. So I was not fully conscious-ish there.
See, here's the difference between you and me: is I've watched it 5 times.
I know. I probably should do that for these things, but I know we're going to talk about them later this day.
That's fine.
No, for me,
we'll watch it together after the show. It's going to be great.
I like to let it mellow and then come back to it later if I'm going to rewatch the trailer. But I probably shouldn't when we're going to do this because, my recall is not as I wish it was for this trailer. Like, I remember that it happened, and I remember like certain things sticking out to me, like you said, like the black and white with the color and doing all the the nostalgia of old scenes, like great scenes from these people's individual movies and stuff like that, and in addition to what we were just saying about the Danny DeVito being born to play those 2 roles, what's his name? Paul Rudd as Scott Lang was an incredible casting. Mm-hmm. He is that character like that.
Yeah, well, I guess it does probably help a little bit that I don't actually know the character at all.
Sure, I'm just saying, when I first heard Paul Rudd was going to be a Marvel superhero, I laughed. Mm-hmm. And I don't know anything about Scott Lang. I just know that he is perfect in that role.
He is. He's fantastic.
I don't have anything to compare it to. I just know that it just seems that him and all of his little mannerisms and quirks just work so well with that character.
It feels like I would read an Ant-Man comic and be like, that's not how you're supposed to act.
him in a robe wandering around confused, seeing posters is that is an iconic scene.
Yeah.
It's just part of a fucking trailer.
Yeah. It's so good. Other incredible. I mean, have they gotten any casting wrong? I feel like let's go through this real quick. Iron Man, no, that was perfect. I don't.
Mark Ruffalo. I've never gotten the Mark Ruffalo thing.
I actually like him as that character. But I don't know. I think to me that character is just kind of flawed in my mind just because they had to change him.
Not just that, but he's been the one that they've pretty clearly never... Well, even from the inception of it as part of the MCU, they've never really had a good handle on that character.
Yeah.
Fair. Edward Norton did a good job in his role, but it was obvious that he wasn't what they wanted. Plus, he's, I guess, kind of a pain in the ass to work with. Mm-hmm. So they got rid of him, and then they cast him with Mark Ruffalo, who was playing a completely different character, really.
That is, yeah, I think they should call the Incredible Hulk not part of this universe, even though I know there's crossover with it. Was Fury's at the end of it, right?
Well, no, Tony was.
Oh, Tony was, right.
Tony was supposed to
call
meeting with Thunderbolt Ross.
Pull that movie out, and it helps.
But they brought Ross back too in Civil War.
But it doesn't. He doesn't matter that much. I don't feel like if you just pull that movie out of the MCU, it's better.
No, but even the thing is, even if you start with your starting point as Ruffalo in Avengers, mm-hmm. that character hasn't grown.
True.
He's changed
true.
Throughout even the Ruffalo run.
Mm-hmm.
They've never really had a good handle until he's consistent between Ragnarok and Infinity War.
Ragnarok.
But from Avengers to Avengers Ultron to Ragnarok, the character out and out changes a couple
mm-hmm.
times. And then they finally seem to have gotten it.
Right. That's a fair assessment. Yeah.
So that's really the one that sticks out to me as being just a wrong casting.
Okay.
Robert Downey, perfect casting.
Perfect.
Paul Rudd, I don't have any basis for the character, but he's a perfect casting in that. Chris Evans is very good.
Yes. Even though I don't love him, he's very good.
He's very good in that role.
Yeah. Hemsworth?
Scarlett Johansson, I think, is good in her role. Maybe not in the level of him, but like again, I would have a hard time seeing anyone else in that role. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, I do love how, over the course of these 10 years, how they've become the characters. I think the ones that would have had the hardest time are ones like Spider-Man. And I think the fact that they were able to pull that off after we've had so many Spider-Mans and it be that good actually is a credit to them. Like, awesome job with the casting. Also, awesome job, Tom Holland.
Yeah. Chris Pratt, perfect. Dave Bautista, perfect.
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana's good. I actually could take or leave Bradley Cooper as Rocket.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I love it.
I think I like the writing of the character more than I like the performance of it.
I like the performance. I do like the voice acting of it. Who else we got? Oh, good pivot, Rhodey. Great pivot. You don't like Don Cheadle?
I could kind of take or leave him. I actually honestly liked the Terrence Howard version. I mean, I don't really strongly like or dislike Terrence Howard in any way, shape, or form. I like his take on the character. I thought
he's
it was
always
fun.
crying. That's all.
He wasn't in that.
He was one. You know what it was? I just rewatched Iron Man, and there's this one scene where he's running downstairs looking for Tony, and he's going, Tony! And I'm just like, ugh! I just can't handle this right now.
You know what? I won't criticize you for that, because I have levied that same exact criticism on a couple of people in recent times as well. Namely, it was Sarah Paulson and what's her name, whose name I always forget because we did this the last time we talked about her. The one who was in Bad Time and not Bad Times at the Royale, Bad Time / Annihilation. The one who was the doctor. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I always forget her name. Was Jennifer Jason Leigh? Is that who it is?
Yes. Thank you.
Her and Sarah Paulson always sound like they're going to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And Terrence Howard honestly does sometimes.
I think he just is crying.
No, he's not, but sometimes...
Sure. Maybe he doesn't have eyelashes or something. I don't know what it is.
The problem is he doesn't have a deep voice. He doesn't have a strong voice. So when he tries to project, it doesn't come out well. Because that's like when he's just having his
like a voice crack.
No, but he doesn't when he's not when he's just having a normal conversation, he sounds fine. But you're right, he does sound a little whiny when he's trying to yell Tony.
Yeah, and
it's not because he sounds like not because he's crying. It's because it's just his voice. And I mean, I don't know how an outside observer feels. I hate my own voice. Maybe people love my voice. Maybe people also hate my voice. I don't know. I just know that when I hear when I'm talking, it sounds normal. Sure. But when I hear myself recorded, I hate it.
Yeah.
Like Joe Perry talking about his own guitar playing for Aerosmith, hate.
Right. There's who is it? I just had a picture of him. Oh, Doctor Strange.
Fine.
Fine?
Fine.
I'm down with that one.
You know what I'll say? Visually, in the Danny DeVito as Penguin.
Yes.
Perfect casting.
Yeah, he looks like the Marvel trading card that I have for Doctor Strange.
Yes, from that perspective, perfect casting. From an actual performance perspective, fine.
Loki?
Perfect.
Now, without jumping too far ahead, Captain Marvel.
Very good.
Nice. I think we've touched most the mains, right? I've got I think a good retcon. Scarlet Witch. Bad.
Which version?
Bad until they retconned her accent. Then good.
Which retconning? Because they've changed it a couple times.
I don't know. The last one in Infinity War, when she's just not doing an accent, much better.
They went from strong bad accent to fading bad accent to just no accent.
Vision.
But we're forgetting someone. Thor, again, visually perfect. Up until Ragnarok, meh.
But I don't know that was his fault though.
No, a lot of it is direction.
Yeah.
But
oh my God,
at the time he was cast, he was a pretty raw actor. He wasn't very experienced. He has now acted in a whole lot of things. I think he's learned how to be an actor, as well as met up with directors who better understand what his talents are. Vision, good.
Yeah. What about Black Panther?
Very good.
Yeah, I'm big fan. We didn't really talk much about the villains, but I really, we've talked about Killmonger, amazing, and I'm not a huge James Spader, is that his name? I'm not a huge fan of his, but the voice acting of Ultron is haunting.
Oh, very strong. Yeah.
Haunting.
The thing is, I just haven't really seen him in anything else, other than commercials for the Blacklist.
Hang on, I got the perfect casting that we haven't touched yet. Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, no, you know what? When we were going through that mini Guardians arc,
Michael Rooker.
I didn't get to it, but in my mind I was like, because it was specifically when we were talking about Bradley Cooper as Rocket, it jumped into my mind that he is excellent as Yondu. Yeah, incredible.
Absolutely, he's perfect.
I can't think of his name right now, but
Michael Rooker.
Yes, Michael. I knew it was Michael something. I just could not think of. Michael Rooker. Incredible casting.
Oh my god, I love it. So the reason I was easily able to go through a lot of these, I actually have the stack of 20 on my desk right now in order, and I'm working my way through them.
Nice.
I have until April 26th.
Now, are you doing them theatrically or chronologically?
Theatrically.
Because I kind of want to do them chronologically.
Chronologically would be cool, but for me, it's more about I just want to relive that history. I want to do chronologically once I have Endgame on Blu-ray or Ultra, whatever.
I mean, we both know you're going to get the Steelbook for it.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, okay.
Honestly, you should wait and see if they do a Steelbook double release of the two.
Too late on that. I don't know that I will get the Steelbook.
Well, first of all, you own like 3 or 4 copies of some movies. What's it going to hurt for you to get the Steelbook?
That's fair. If they do an Avengers collection, a 4K Avengers collection, I'll buy that because I don't have the first 2 in 4K.
What do you think the first movie that you own 5 copies of will be?
Will be or is?
Well, you already own 5 copies.
89 Batman. Else? I think I have 5 or 6 times. Not.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's weird. I've got a VHS. I've got a recorded VHS.
I wasn't accounting for the recorded VHS.
I have one of those. I've got a flimsy DVD, where it's.
What does that mean?
It's like man, like the early DVDs. They had it was a cardboard box with a little flap. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That was 50% plastic and 50% cardboard.
No, it was 90% cardboard, and it had a rim of plastic around it. Let's be serious. I have one of those. So that's 3. That's the DVD. I've got a jewel case DVD because it came in a pack once. So I've got that. And then I have...
Sorry, I'm still listening to you, but I know that I have one of those flimsy DVDs behind me, and I'm trying to see if I can find one quick.
It's The Matrix. Look for The Matrix.
Sorry, I was confused by flimsy DVD. If you said, flimsy case DVD, I would have known what you meant. And I was like, what do you mean a flimsy DVD? Do you have an HD DVD version, too?
And then, no, but I have a Blu-ray.
Remember when that was a thing for 3 years?
It lasted a few days. And I have I think just one version of it on Blu-ray. And Laserdisc. No, I'm kidding. I don't have it on Laserdisc.
Wait a minute. See, no, I just assumed you had VHS, DVD, Blu-ray of 89 Batman.
Right. It was just because of I got somebody gave me a collection once, and then somebody gave me a set, and then I had them already.
You had 2 or 3 DVDs of something because you bought it and then had it in a collection, and then it also turned up somehow else or something like that.
Yeah. I think I've got Star Wars a lot of times too.
I have them. I'm pretty sure I have the 97 VHS re-release, which is the one that had all the added CGI stuff.
Yep.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I definitely had it. We may no longer still have it. We may have actually just gotten rid of it. I'm not sure. And then I have them all on DVD. I don't think I have them on Blu-ray. I have them the new ones. everything from episode 7 on, I have all Blu-ray.
Yep.
Um,
that one's gonna be a killer for me. So I've got those in Steelbook, and the Steelbooks are really nice, and it makes me want to get the other Steelbooks, but I'm not gonna do it.
You know what I have on only VHS? The Phantom Menace.
Yes. Oh my god, dude. Okay, so the Phantom Menace, I pre-ordered the VHS tape. Oh my god, what the hell was the name of the store? Saturday Matinee in the mall. I pre-ordered the VHS tape, took it home, watched it while I did my homework, watched it again, and then I put that movie on every single night as I went to sleep.
Nice.
Every single night. And now when I watch The Phantom Menace, I go, I know it's not great, but I love it.
See, now that's the weaponized nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's a self-inflicted nostalgia?
I don't even know. Oh my god.
Nostalgia sucks.
Anyway, that Endgame trailer.
Yeah, we should probably get off this topic / tangent because it's been way too long.
It's good.
If we were ever going to edit for content, some of that probably shouldn't be.
It should. It's not going to go. I'm going to keep all of it.
No.
100%.
Sorry, you misheard me. I said if we were ever going to.
Right. You know what I'll do? I could add bookmarks. I could do like bookmark, Avengers rant, bookmark, DVD rant. Oh my goodness! All right, why don't you take it away? I'm gonna hold Keanu Reeves in the back pocket.
I'm gonna hit you with a nugget.
Hit me.
Triple Frontier.
Ooh,
we discussed it a few months ago.
We did.
Yes, when we heard it was announced, I brought it up to you in much in the same manner that I am now. And you're like, "Oh, that sounds cool," and I said, "Yes, I feel exactly the same way."
Oh, and we were like surprised because Ben Affleck's in it, or
let's put that away because it's not out yet. It's out. Well, I think it had a limited theatrical release.
Oh, and Oscar Isaac. Okay, this is all coming back to me.
Yes. I haven't watched it yet. I want to watch it. We should watch it and do it for an episode.
100%. Yeah.
Like the week after. So I just wanted to bring it up again to refresh your memory, jog your memory, get the audience back on board with it because we talked about it like 6 months ago. I haven't read any reviews for it. I have no idea if it's any good. I do like the cast though, so minus Ben Affleck. But at least it's a star-powered cast. So I am actively. I'm not hiding from that in any way, shape, or form. I own it, and I will always own it.
It's probably the best part is that you're unapologetic, which is great.
I don't think I have
anything
coming from a place.
It's coming from a place of honesty. I appreciate that.
It as honest and authentic as I can be about it.
Good.
Anyway, that was my small nugget on this. Just that movie is, I think, either now or this weekend.
It's like out
on Netflix.
Cool.
So, and it's a Netflix movie. So I'm interested to see where that's going. We've discussed that some in recent weeks.
Are we going to see if it came out of the AI machine?
If it did, it has been done a little bit more genuinely than Bird Box was.
Okay.
Like they actually cast like real actors and actresses and stuff. Like it seems like a genuine attempt to make a movie is all I'm going to say on the surface. I'll have to watch it and see.
Did you just refer to Ben Affleck as a real actor?
I mean, he's not good, but he's real.
All right, cool. I feel like you're softening.
No, he is a certified movie star, but that doesn't make him a good actor.
I'm just messing with you. It's okay. All right. Do you want to do your Sopranos thing?
We could do that, or I have a new.
Give me a new.
Okay. I must have seen this news when it was first announced a few months ago, but I had zero recollection of it. So now that I have more concrete to go on, because I just saw this either yesterday or yesterday, courtesy of The Wrap, Destin Daniel Cretton, I don't know how to pronounce that last name, to direct Asian American superhero movie based on Shang-Chi character for Marvel Studios. This is going to be part of the next wave of MCU movies. So we will do a very abbreviated version of reading from this article on The Wrap. Marvel Studios has hired Destin Daniel Cretton. I'm going to just say Cretton, and we're going to stick with it for the rest of the article.
Okay, cool. To
direct the Asian American superhero tentpole based on Marvel Comics' popular Shang-Chi character of the 1970s. An individual with knowledge of the project told The Wrap. Dave Callahan is writing the script that will ultimately modernize the Shang-Chi story and character arc. Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige is producing the film. Marvel's Louis D'Esposito, Victoria Alonso, and Jonathan Schwartz are executive producers on the project. Marvel Studios is looking to tap into that authentic filmmaking superpower that brought Black Panther to cinematic life by bringing on Cretton and a predominantly Asian American and Asian cast. Cretton is currently directing Just Mercy, a feature film he wrote which stars Brie Larson and Michael B. Jordan. Larson first worked with Cretton when she starred in his second feature film, Short Term 12. His other directorial credits include The Glass Castle. In addition to Larson and Jordan, Cretton has worked with several Marvel Cinematic Universe filmmakers, including Black Panther director Ryan Coogler, with whom he developed the television series Scenes for Minors. Marvel Comics' original Shang-Chi character is a half-Chinese, half-American superhero who is created by writer Steve Englehart and artist Jim Starlin. In the comics, Shang-Chi is an extraordinary master of numerous unarmed and weaponry-based wushu styles, including the use of the gun, nunchaku, and Jen. He first appeared in a special Marvel edition number 15 in December of 1973 by Steve Englehart and Jim Starlin.
Cool.
So there's no timeline for that, obviously, because the script is being currently written, I think. They just hired this director. They have not cast the lead or anyone for it.
Have you heard of this character?
I've never heard of this character
me neither.
before.
I'm down with that.
But when I first saw it at first, I assumed, because it didn't say anything about movie, it just said for Marvel Studios, I assumed that meant it was going to be another one of these series they're doing for Disney+. Plus.
Oh.
Like the Loki one, like the Scarlet Witch and Vision one that's coming out sometime either at the end of this year or next year. But no, it's a feature film. So even though they didn't say it in this, to my knowledge, they're not doing any Marvel movies that are going to be outside the continuity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I assume that means this is part of the post-Endgame. Next, was that Phase 3 or Phase 4 now? Whatever. I forget what phase they're on now.
I think it's the end of 4.
No, it's either the end of 2 or it's the end of 3.
What, Endgame?
Yes.
Then it's the end of 3.
Yeah.
Phase 1 was over after the Avengers. Or before the Avengers. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like 90%.
Maybe you're right. Maybe this is the end of 4. I don't know. Whatever phase it is, the next phase post Endgame, this movie will be a part of. Though I imagine, considering it's so very early in pre-production, that it's at earliest it can't come out until like 2021.
Yeah, I would guess so. It's probably like maybe a March.
Because the ones that they're quietly in production on are Doctor Strange 2. Black Panther 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Right.
And outside of that, there's nothing in any way, shape, or form that's been confirmed. I assume there'll be a Captain Marvel 2.
Sure. And she's supposed to be in like 9 movies or something?
Well, whatever. All of them have these like huge contracts.
Yeah.
And Homecoming is after Endgame.
Far From Home.
Fisker. Oh, yeah, Far From Home. Actually, I meant to say Homecoming 2 because I forgot what Far From Home was. Knowing that it wasn't, and I just forgot to say 2. So I assume that this would put this movie, although who knows when Guardians 3 will actually get made, but the other 2 movies, once Endgame comes out and we actually know how it all shakes out with everyone, then I think we'll probably rapidly hear news on
I think so too.
The production of Doctor Strange and Black Panther, as well as probably get a confirmation of how and when a Captain Marvel 2 will be coming out. So this would be part of that phase.
Sweet.
As they've handed this off to new characters.
I like the idea of seeing some new characters coming to life. I've really enjoyed, which we'll talk about with Captain Marvel, I like going in and not knowing where it's going to go.
Sure.
Right? I like having both sides. I like when I know the character a little bit and like, oh, I kind of see where certain things are. I can get certain references. That's fun. But then I also like the first one I think of the group was, Thor. I didn't really have too much knowledge of. I knew enough about Iron Man, enough about Captain America, but it was Guardians of the Galaxy that really did it for me. Where I was like, I literally have no concept of what to expect here. And that it may be my favorite.
Well, the funny thing is, when that movie came out, like they were like, "Oh, like all these people." I was like, I know that there was a raccoon. I knew there was a space raccoon in a tree, Oh, Groot, that's his name? Okay, yeah, no, that does sound familiar. Like, that was the extent of my knowledge.
Right. Right. No, it's so bizarre. Yeah, but I'm, like I said, down for new characters that I know nothing about. Let's move on to this. We'll do this quick. This is every Keanu Reeves action movie ranked worst to best. This was on Looper from Casey Cipriani. And for the most part, it seems fine to me, except the mistake at the end. So, the coming in last is Johnny Mnemonic, which I don't even know what that is.
I've heard of it. I know nothing about it.
I see the picture of the poster for the movie, and I agree. Probably the worst one.
What is the poster?
It's like him falling. It looks like he's falling off a building. It says VR on the left side. There's like a target on him. He's holding a gun, and he's got Keanu Reeves' face. You know the face. And then...
Oh, do I?
Next up is 47 Ronin. Did you see that?
I did not.
Neither did I.
I think there is a very modest cult following of that movie.
Okay.
But outside of that, it bombed.
It's just like him with these pork chops on his face, like this.
To the best of my knowledge,
ridiculous beard and like a samurai, a katana of some kind.
It might have done well internationally. I don't know about that, but domestically, it bombed both critically and commercially.
All right. What about Chain Reaction? Because that's what's next.
Nope, no idea.
All right, let's get to the stuff that we do know. Next, low on the list, as expected, Matrix Revolutions.
Okay. I still like the sequels. I do not get slander.
I like the sequels. I agree that they're not like tremendous action movies. I like the second one a lot more than people do.
I like aspects of both of them a lot.
Okay, so let's start focusing now. I
don't know which of them I prefer overall.
We'll see then if this list from here on out makes sense with you and lines up with you. So Matrix Revolutions would be at the bottom of the list of movies that we know, followed by Constantine. And I don't really remember Constantine.
I actually like Constantine. I'm gonna go out and say it's actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how it actually performed. It's a solid movie.
I don't remember disliking it, but I barely remember the movie at all.
And this isn't like a nostalgia thing talking. I actually didn't see it until maybe 5 years ago.
Oh, cool. All right, that's good to know. That means it's probably worth a rewatch.
So it came out in, I think, 2005.
Coming up next is The Matrix Reloaded.
Mm-hmm.
Followed by Man of Tai Chi. Not familiar with that one.
I did not see it. I never heard of it.
Followed by Point Break.
I'm surprised that that's not number one.
Followed by John Wick Chapter 2. We're getting towards the top of the list now. John Wick Chapter 2. Followed by John Wick.
I was going to say, those two probably should be next to each other, whichever order you choose to put them in. It's up to your own personal preference. But I assume those two probably should be next to each other in the list, which it sounds like they are. So
followed by Speed at number 2 and The Matrix at number 1. Here's where the problem is. The Matrix is a tremendous movie. I love The Matrix. I'm not about to bash The Matrix. If we're talking best action movies, those John Wick movies are at the top of this list, in my opinion.
I mean, for as groundbreaking as John Wick was, The Matrix is even more so.
I'm not even the groundbreaking piece of it. Just as far as action movies go, John Wick had the action movie formula perfect.
And I'm just saying that there's been a million action movies that took their cue from The Matrix.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying when I'm saying groundbreaking. It basically revolutionized the genre.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, John Wick
which is great, but you don't get a number 1 slot for that. I don't think anymore.
I don't know. I mean, that's the type of thing you're talking legacy with these things.
I guess it depends on how you're approaching your rating of these movies.
It's the same thing you do when you do adjusted net gross of movies, you know what I mean? Like box office. Anything that's come out in the last decade is going to outweigh anything else. But if you look at it based on compared to something like Jaws or the original Star Wars, you know what I mean? Those things blow them away by adjusted gross.
Yeah. It just I thought the list was interesting. Also, when I came across it, I was like, "What's on this list? What's on this little treat right here that I came across?" That was fun. Anyway, I agree that the movies that are in the top of the list should be there. I just disagree with the order.
Yeah, I'm actually mildly surprised. Not that I think it should be, but just the reverence you hear some people talk about Point Break. I just assumed that was going to be number one.
Like number one, yeah.
Even though objectively, The Matrix and Speed are I think his two best, like the two most action movies, and John Wick obviously deserves. But the problem is John Wick and John Wick 2 are not just like sequel, like they are the same movie for better.
Yeah, let's just say we could just put it as one. John Wick.
Yes.
the Wicks.
Calling it Chapter 2 was incredibly accurate because they are. It is not a sequel; it is an extension of the movie.
Yeah, the movie just continues. It's great.
Yes,
love it. All right, that was it on the Keanu Reeves front. Do you want to your Sopranos thing?
What else do you have? Do you have anything else?
That's it for me.
Oh, yeah, and this is all I have as well. So I will try and keep this. I didn't do it as a formal review. If I was going to do that, I would have written something up. Sure. I just put down a lot of my notes on it changed a little bit, but I just want to give my impression, and I'd like for you at any time, like stop me and question me on it, almost like an interview format type of thing. I want it to be something of a conversation instead of just a straight, even if it's 70-30 me. You know what I mean? So my first high level, like tweet length review. This is an incredible show. It is absolutely worthy of its like pantheon type hype, hype. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this is one of the greatest shows of all time. I don't feel comfortable just slapping the greatest show of all time on it.
Yep.
But it's absolutely worthy of being in that conversation.
That makes me happy to hear.
That being said, it is mildly overrated.
Ooh.
Because
okay.
So many people who want to bludgeon you, like, no, this is the greatest show of all time. It's not a perfect show. It is an amazing show.
Okay.
But it's not perfect. No, I mean, like, nothing can be perfect. Honestly, for my vote, even though it's not my favorite show, I love the show. Even though it's not my favorite show, my vote would go to Breaking Bad as the best show that I've ever seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Same thing. Not my favorite show, but the best show that I've seen.
I mean, I love the show. I've seen every episode at least 2 times.
Yeah.
And quite a few of them I've seen 3 or more. Like,
so good.
It is an amazing. That show is closer to flawless than The Sopranos is in my mind. But The Sopranos, I will say, probably at times reaches higher heights than Breaking Bad does.
Ooh.
It's just that there are certain fundamental flaws that, like, they are just a part of the show. They just don't work for me. Okay. So I guess I'll start with those. Well, there's one thing specifically. The dream sequences are just excessive.
Yeah. How often are we experiencing?
It's not that they're that often. I just don't like that a show would prop itself up on something like that so much. Because, honestly, and this is a larger criticism of the usage of that thing in general, you break my immersion when you rely so heavily on these things, especially since all of the dreams that are in this movie are so loaded, like narratively, like and in where it's going to set everything up for certain things or how like certain revelations are made on the show. No one dreams like these things in real life. No one has dreams like this.
Okay.
It's just not realistic, and this is not a Sopranos exclusive thing. I have a problem with this in the vast majority of dreams in any TV and movie stuff.
I could say, though, if you wanted to do a realistic dream, I don't know really how you're going to convey. You were you, but you weren't you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you...
What I'm saying is, like, you get one ridiculous, like...
Yeah, I get you.
Like, symbology of dreams, you know what I mean? And this show had quite a few of them. And for me, honestly, it's a little weak because no one, to my knowledge, unless my brain works differently than the other 8 billion people in the world, no one dreams like that.
Mm-hmm.
At least not with that sort of frequency. Like, there's just some, but like.
Wait, I'm really curious though. What kind of frequency are we talking here? Is it and length? Is it like our entire episode's dream sequences?
There is.
If you tell me a season's a dream sequence, I'm gonna be pissed.
No, that's only on Archer. I'm not joking about that, actually. There's, I think, on my recollection, there are 2 episodes that not entirely dream, but like considering, even though they call it The Sopranos, Tony is the main character. It's 65% Tony, and the other 35% is all the other characters. You know what I mean? Whether it be family and other important people. There are 2 episodes that Tony is dreaming for the majority of the episode, even if they like cut to other things happening outside of his head. Like 75% of the episode is inside his head. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
There's at least 2 that are the episode, and they're not like back to back, but like the majority of the episode is his dream.
Okay. That,
to my knowledge, I think. And then another one that is something else that I don't want to spoil for anyone who hasn't seen, especially you, because I know you said you're planning on getting to it. Yeah. There's another one that's not dream, but there's something in that realm. And then there's a bunch of other ones where there's just these really important things. And it's actually not just him. There's a couple other characters who have important dreams too. Like, I mean, we're talking about scenes that are like 1, 2, 3 minutes long. You know what I mean? Not a big deal. It's just the reliance on dream and the importance of dream, like how prominent dreaming is in the movie or in the show. It just rubbed me the wrong way.
Sure.
If they could have done some of what they were doing just less, and I would have been okay with it. Tighten, yes.
Just tighten it up. Okay, that's fair.
The only other thing structurally that I would say is a flaw in this is the drug use on the show, specifically the heroin use, and that's really in one character specifically, and the people in his orbit. It's just excessive. Like at a certain point, you get it. Like we get it. The dude's addicted to heroin.
Right. Okay. They're beating him over the head with it.
Yeah, like from a narrative perspective, from literally like a graphic depiction of it. Like, I don't need to repeatedly see like this dude get grossly high on heroin. You know what I mean? Like, actually physically shooting up. I just don't need to see it. Like, I get why you do it like once or twice. You know what I mean? To give you the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
But there's a certain point where it's becoming like pornographic in its depiction, and like it's such a disgusting substance that I just don't need that amount of actual on-screen time devoted to it. Right. Because we're talking about, this is an arc for one of the characters seasons long.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying?
That sounds brutal.
So it's like it just and there's an ebb and flow to it. You know what I mean? It's not like it's every single episode, but like when he falls off the wagon, you spend a couple of episodes at times like with him in the gutter with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I don't need that. And this is from someone like, I watched The Wire and I felt some of the same way. They did just a better job of breaking it up. You know what I mean? There was a lot of talk and seeing the impact of it without actually watching people shoot up all the time or actually watching them high as balls all the time. Mm-hmm. It was just gratuitous is just all I'll say. All right. Like, I get why it was in there, and I don't mind where those stories went because like it was very well done. It just got gratuitous by the end of the show. Yeah. And the only other really like major thing I'll say is from a negative thing, and this is really just like my own personal preference, was Steve Buscemi was an important character on one of the seasons of the show. Oh. And I got really excited from where it looked like the character was going to go, and the storyline ended up falling flat for me, which was disappointing to me. And I think, from something I was reading recently, I think it was because they were expecting to have him longer, and then had to write him out of the show.
Oh, that sucks. Okay.
And so it just ended up being like
I
had such high hopes, and it didn't quite live up.
Sure.
Like, he did a good job. Like, there was nothing like wrong with that. Like, it didn't live up to my expectation.
Gotcha.
And there's a little bit of that with because what I'll go to like with some cast stuff is like the main cast for the majority of it is incredible, and in general, Edie Falco's character, is Tony's wife. Mm-hmm. She does such a good job in that role, but not the entirety of the show, but large swaths of it, the character is just underwritten. Like, they just don't give her much to do sometimes. Okay.
I hate that.
And it's a shame because it feels like, oh, like you're wasting her. Because like when her character was written well, it was good.
And she could deliver.
Yeah, like there's just large times where like she kind of fell by the wayside, or like what they were giving her as like a story, like connective tissue, like episode by episode, just like, man, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, give me something better to work with, or cut to someone else. Like, because like, I just don't care what's going on right now. But then when it was good, it was great. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I feel like this is good. Hearing all this is good because you said, dare I say, overhyped, right? And I think that's how you phrased it.
I said it just mildly,
which I think is good because I want to see it. I do want to watch it. I have had this sneaking suspicion that it is, but more so than what you're saying. I'm glad to hear you say that I could lower the rung just maybe one, so that maybe it could surpass it a little bit. That's all, because I want to really enjoy it.
It is one of the greatest shows of all time.
Okay,
I just don't think it deserves the title of being the unanimous greatest of all time. Okay,
that's great. That means that my time will not be wasted watching, and I'm happy with that.
Like, I'm saying it's like a 95%. It doesn't deserve 10s across the board. You know what I mean? Like, it's really... Yeah,
95 is amazing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just not a masterpiece.
What is incredible about this show is, for one of the greatest shows of all time, I feel confident, and I know I'm not the first person saying this, AJ Soprano is the worst character in TV history, and I do not want to hear any argument against that.
So who is this, his son?
It's his son, Anthony Jr.
Okay.
It's not the actor, it's the character. It's the worst character.
Oh, no. Really? It's that bad?
It's so bad.
How old is the character?
At the start of the show, he's in middle school, I think. And at the end of it, he was a year or two out of high school.
Now, terrible character or terribly written? Like, intentionally bad?
I don't think it was intentional the whole time.
Okay, is it the...
I think it got to the point where it's just like, well, this is what we got.
Is it the character? Is it the acting? Is it both?
It's not the actor.
Oh, okay.
Really. I mean, like he definitely wasn't the strongest actor in the cast. It's the character.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind going in.
It's just so bad. Like, to a certain point, a lot of it is playing... The show isn't about the mob. The show is about families and family dynamics.
Yeah.
And the mob is another family. In fact, they frequently talk about it. Like we have two families: the family you go home to and the family that you're a part of here that you like swore a blood oath to. So that's what the show is really about. So the character is meant to show... I mean, the show literally starts with Tony in therapy.
Okay.
Like, the first scene is him in therapy for the first time. Like, the first ever session he's done.
What is the overlap between The Sopranos and Analyze This?
I don't know. I didn't see Analyze This. I think I saw Analyze That, but I was like 10. So, you know, he's in therapy, but not because he was referred
same year. Sorry, I had to look it up.
Okay. He's not referred to it by the law, though. He's doing it of his own volition.
Okay.
Because he's depressed. And his issue is he had terrible parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So AJ is largely used as a mirror to show
that makes sense.
How he is as a parent. But the problem is there's a certain amount of the terribleness of the character could just go in, like, just be filed under that. And I'm fine with it. It's just that the whole character is just how terrible of a kid this guy, like, he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's not even like he doesn't even get up to entertaining hijinks.
He's
like,
just
all his
shitty.
storylines are just bad.
Yeah.
Like Meadow, the daughter, like, there's some ups and downs to her characters, but you know what it is? When they were in a down cycle with her, she just didn't end up being on screen.
Right.
She would just kind of disappear temporarily, and then she'd come back. And, like, some of her storylines were really good.
Okay.
There are zero good storylines with AJ.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That sounds rough.
But sorry, a lot of this has been like the negative because the negative, it comes up in such sharp relief for how good the show is. So what I will say on the good standpoint, it is an uncompromising look at the brutality and the stress and ridiculousness of this lifestyle. It's incredible.
Yeah.
like to the point where it's like this is so unbelievable, even though a lot of these things had to have been liberally taken from real life stuff. You know what I mean? Even though it's not like a biography of anyone. You know what I mean? Directly. But to a certain extent, this show at times, certain people have plot armor, right? In certain ways, this is almost a forerunner to Game of Thrones, as far as like that sort of content on TV.
Okay.
People die, man. Like people fucked up. Like people who are like, there's a body count, and earlier in the show, it's largely people who don't matter. By the end, not everyone makes it out, man.
Yeah.
And it's,
man, you're making me really want to watch this.
It's that good.
When my watch is ended, maybe that's what I'll start.
Are you in the Night's Watch now?
Well, when Game of Thrones is over.
And these like the other two things that go into like the good like part and like part of the like the good thing is like the majority of the cast is incredible as an actor. Like I highlighted the people who like to me stuck out. Like James Gandolfini is great.
Yeah.
Edie Falco is. And a lot of the other people in it are very, very like Michael Imperioli is very good. Like a lot of them are really, really good. But the writing is really incredible, and it manifests itself in two ways. One, like the plotting, like I don't mean plotting like by the characters. I mean the plotting of the storyline, the narrative itself, is incredibly like detailed.
Okay.
And there are rare exceptions outside of the dream stuff where any of it ever feels like a cop-out. Like, there are genuine twists you don't see coming.
Are they known for other things, the writers? Like, can you pinpoint them for other work that they've done, or not really? David
Chase created the show. Actually, I mean, he's done other stuff, but not much, really.
Okay.
And I think that's by choice, because I think if he wanted to work on anything else, he could. Because this is one of the most prestigious shows of all time.
Right.
And other people... I don't remember the guys. I don't remember which one it is now. One of the guys who was either one of the main writers or one of the main directors of the show went on to do Mad Men.
Oh, okay.
And other people like have gone on to do that. Although I've started in the last couple of years to start looking at some of the directors of episodes, especially if they're like recurring directors of the show, to see if it's anyone I recognize in other stuff eventually.
Sorry.
Because.
One of the writers wrote for Sister for a year.
That's unexpected.
Sister. Man, that show is... I have not thought about that show in a long time.
That is an unexpected pull there. It's just the quality of the writing, with very rare exceptions, was excellent. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Just and the way that there were certain storylines, it's like, that wasn't really that important, or that character wasn't really important, and then they show up way later down the line. It's like, oh shit! Like it was incredibly well crafted and plotted out. And the other thing that the way it manifests itself is there's some really good comedy in this show. You know what I mean? Like, which is unexpected because of how dark it is and how serious most of it is. There's some really funny things. Like, I mean, there's some funny lines, but there are some really funny things that just situationally pop up because of the writing that's just like, oh my god, I did not expect to be laughing my ass off right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For the twists and turns, though, were there like a decent number of those ones where it's just like, you don't see it coming, but you figure it out just a second before it happens, and your mind explodes?
there's some of those.
I love
there's
those.
Some of those times where it's, oh my god, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Or there's some of those where it's, okay, I think I know where this is going. And it ends up going there, just maybe not how you think.
Okay.
Because it's really good at building creeping dread.
Because
there's certain times where like you figure it out, and it almost becomes like the Family Guy thing, where it's like they keep going with it to a certain point where you don't think that's what they're going to go, and then, oh yes, that's where they arrived. They just took way longer to get there.
That liver's going to have to come out.
What?
That liver's going to have to come out. I'm not quite sure how to say this. Bassinger?
Jim
Basinger?
No, I'm actually thinking more of, like, I can't even think of a specific example, but there's certain things in Family Guy where, like, oh my god, they're going to do this.
Yeah.
They take a really long time setting it up,
and then
long that you don't think that's what they're going to do at this point, and that's when they do the thing. It's
right.
Like, oh god, they did do it. I was
yeah.
right. You know,
yeah.
they didn't expect to get there that way. There's a lot of that with this show.
Okay.
But not in a comedic sense.
Cool. I'm just excited to hear that it's one of the greatest of all time. And
no, it is worthy of the hype. It is worthy of the majority of the hype. It is.
That
really
makes me excited when I need a good show, and I'm ready to start one. I'm fully confident that I'll enjoy this one now.
So
so many people have said how good it is, but since we rarely disagree on movies and TV, I think it would be really screwed up is if you were playing this like long game of like just gaining my trust and you actually hated this.
Like it was the Phantom Thread joke.
Oh my god! Yeah, but just that would be. I'm psyching myself out now. That
the only problem is like you could do that for a movie. Like I didn't do this, but like you would almost accuse me of doing this with like Good Time. Like you can do it for a movie because like when the credits roll, you'd be like, "The fuck?"
Right.
But there's like 7 seasons of this TV show. You know what I mean? Like if it wasn't living up, you would like cut it by the end of the first season. You know what I mean?
You might be able to pull it off with a pilot season.
Yes. It wouldn't be able to work for this because there's a certain point where it's like, oh yeah, this is really excellent, or this show sucks. I'm not watching 5 more seasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. Awesome. Well, cool. I'm glad.
I just wanted to. I know we were supposed to do it a few weeks ago, but we had some scheduling issues and some technical issues on different episodes. So
I'm glad we got to. I'm also glad you enjoyed it. That you seem to really have had a good time with it.
Oh, yeah, it was an excellent show. Well, A Good Time is an interesting way to say it because it is dark as shit and it will leave you depressed at times.
Sure. Because
it's a show about nearly unanimously shitty people.
Mm-hmm.
Like not
Seinfeld.
everyone's a murderer or a criminal in the show, but most of them are genuinely bad people. Actually, by the end of the show, of the main cast, maybe the daughter Meadow is the only one who like you don't actively root against.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to it. Shall we get into our flick of the week?
Yes, absolutely.
Captain Marvel.
Correct.
Captain Marvel is the 21st entry into the MCU, which means that I only have 19 more movies to go to rewatch everything before Endgame.
Wait, so you've only watched?
I literally have watched Iron Man.
You've watched Iron Man and Captain Marvel.
Yes. I've bookended what we currently have, and now I have to work my way down the stack. So I'll do that. I'll do the little. Are you gonna watch like Hulk next, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp? And like flip flop it. Yeah, good on you for getting the exact right ones. So we'll do the little IMDb thing. Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers becomes one of the universe's most powerful heroes when Earth is caught in the middle of a galactic war between 2 alien races. Now, that's
pretty accurate.
Yeah. Earth's not like wildly caught in the middle. The stakes for Earth are not very high in this movie.
Well, I mean, no, by the definition.
Yeah, we're in the middle of it.
In the middle of a tug of war.
That's fair.
They're not fighting over Earth, but they're fighting around Earth, and it's caught in the crossfire.
Let's do this. I want to do a new thing.
Okay.
General impressions. I want to know. I want you to give me a 1 through 10 rating of the movie, and just a quick how you feel about it.
Okay, I was gonna say what I was gonna give you was basically my tweet length review.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And a number score.
Perfect.
Tweet length review. It doesn't measure up to the most excellent movies of the past couple of years, namely Ragnarok and Black Panther. But it's very good outside the top 5 MCU movies, but probably in the 6 to 12 range.
Perfect. Because what I was going to say is, and what's your number?
7.8.
Okay, you points. Get out of here with the points. I do whole numbers and I'm rounded down. So
no, No, because I would say it's fair to go like 7, 7.5, 8. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of gap between 7.
Okay, that's fair. I will. Okay, so
I would say closer to an 8 than a 7. That's why, like, so like 7.5 would be my like. That's why I said 7.8. Like, it's close to an 8. It's very good.
It's very entertaining. It's very fun to watch. The characters, I enjoyed the characters, especially because I didn't know them. Like I said, mentioned that earlier. Love that. This movie sits. This is in the middle of the stack somewhere, but above 5. You know, yeah, exactly. It would round up into the greats. It's perfectly set right in the middle of the MCU as far as quality goes, but more on the higher end of the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you line them up from 1 to 21, it's on the top half, the better half.
Yep.
But 100%. Not in the top 5.
100%. And I would give it a 7. I think 7 is a good solid score for this. But I also don't. I try to leave points out of it because it makes it even harder in my opinion. So
I would have to sit and do like a formal ranking. I'd have to sit and do a formal grading, not based on any specific criteria, just on how I feel about the movies. You know what I mean?
I feel like I would end up with 0.1s because what I would be saying is this and this. These two movies are a 7, but this one's better. So 0.1.
That's why I gave it like a 7.8. Okay, not that I gave an analytical thought into it, but just like it's not an 8, but it's close to an 8. It's more than a 7. It's really good.
It is.
What I said before I went in to go see it was at this point in the game, it seems impossible that they could just have an absolute flop.
Right.
And I don't mean commercially. I mean from the quality of the making of the movie, of the product that's put out there, even if it didn't resonate with dollars made, just in a vacuum, how the movie comes out. I don't think they can get one horrendously wrong.
All right.
Because they would nip it in the bud. You know what I mean? They're not going to do, and actually it's probably a point to Marvel over Star Wars. They're not going to make a Frankenstein like the Solo movie was.
Yeah.
It's like they would nip it in the bud and no, we're shooting the whole movie from scratch with the new person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
That's not always been the case, but in the last 5 years, that is where they have become.
It
really
is
in the last 3 years.
It's a big credit to the movie though, because what we're saying 7.5. You're putting that it is measured against a very high bar.
Yes,
and that's incredible, and that's why you're right. There's not going to be a flop. We already had them. Yes.
This movie is propped up on the skeletons of those lesser movies that they really should never get there again.
Now,
like there should be a baseline of quality where like 7 flat really probably should be the lowest any of these movies ever go. Which is weird, right? Because it's almost like a criticism of this movie if you're not even giving it quite an 8. But really what it comes down to is we set a goal.
Yeah.
7 is the goal. We hit the goal.
Yep.
We maybe didn't exceed the goal. We hit it. We didn't fall short of it.
One thing that really you know what could almost get at another point for me was the marketing and trailers for this movie, and here's why. The listeners know I have a problem with trailers and how much they tell you and how much.
Well, I think I know where you're going to go with this.
It's great. It's
I
guess if you.
What I was going to say is, I remember when they put the first full trailer, you seemed irritated they were giving too much away.
Yep.
The trailers didn't give anything away.
Nope.
Having seen the movie, the trailers gave nothing away.
Better yet, so here's one of the problems with trailers, especially trailers that appear to give things away, is that whether or not you realize it, you do remember all the scenes from the trailer. They're in your head, and you will wait for some of them. You will be looking for them in the movie to see, and you'll start to piece them together as they play out.
My funniest experience with that in my life, and that's really trended more towards the last few years, because we've talked about trailers so much, and it's I think it'll always stick in my mind. Episode 8, when I realized, I thought the movie was almost over when they
we haven't gotten that planet yet.
As they were heading down to the planet, I was like, wait a minute, there was so much fucking material about that red and white planet.
Yep.
There's still so much movie left, isn't there?
It's amazing. So this was different, where it's like, oh, I felt like they were giving you a lot in the trailer, because it's all over the place and in a really good way. And what I think is incredible about it was they got me. They got me good, and I'm happy to admit it. All of that happens in the first 15 minutes of the movie. Everything in the trailer is in the first 15 minutes of the movie. Like 90% of it.
She's flying around shooting stuff.
Sure, and like
15 minutes of the movie,
and like a couple of like cross clips of like Ronin or like things like that. Like they appear later, but like the bulk of the trailer is in the beginning of the movie, and it made me go, "Oh, okay, cool. I've seen everything so far. I literally don't know what's next." And then this entire story unfolds that I don't know. I have no context around, and I loved that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Disney, and this is, we can extend this to Marvel and Star Wars. Disney's gotten really good at trailers.
And, well, let's talk about that a little bit longer. There is one issue, though. And that is, I thought Brie Larson did a very good job. I thought she played the character really well. If the only thing you had to judge it on was the trailer, the clips that were picked for the trailer of her acting were atrocious.
Yes.
And I was worried
that she
wasn't going to pull it off.
Because this is my note. Because this is pre-spoilers. We can do this. This is what I wrote down from my notes on her acting. Larson was really good in the second half when they allowed her to be. Mm. Because the first half of the movie, they don't really allow her to do much.
Well, she's on training wheels, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Script-wise, the character is on training wheels, which forces Brie Larson to be on training wheels. So she acted the part perfectly, but what she was asked to do was to not do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she was neither good nor bad. She was neutral, completely neutral, based purely on context. And that was all the stuff that was in the trailer, as you just said.
Well, to get a glimpse, the exact scene that I just need to bring up, you have to go watch it if you don't know what I'm talking about here. There's a scene in the trailer, you can watch it in the trailer if you haven't seen the movie yet, where she's in the car with Nick Fury, and he's reciting back to her what she has just explained to him about the Kree and the Skrulls. And he says, race of warriors, or noble warriors. And she says, heroes. Noble warrior heroes. And the delivery of that line makes me cringe. It's horrible. It's really bad. And I was like, oh no. But it's just that and maybe two other deliveries. And it's like you said, though.
It does seem like she's being the switch.
Right. And and here's another reason why you can tell that. If those scenes were going to make me cringe, another perfect one that would have is the scene from the trailer that we talked about earlier, the Endgame trailer. At the very end, when she smirks at Thor, it would have been just as cringy. But it wasn't, because the training wheels are off. And you are absolutely correct.
They allowed her to be a real character once they allowed her to start going through the process of we're still pre-spoiled, so I don't want to go into it. But once they allowed her to... Narratively, there's a certain point where they flip the switch and allow her to be a real person again, and she crushes it from then on. And you realize that the whole first half that seems rough is by design.
Yep.
Because she's supposed to, and this isn't even spoiler because it's in the trailer. In the first half of the movie, she doesn't know who she is.
Right.
Not really. And that's reflected in the way the character's written, and it's reflected in the way she played it. She's playing it fairly blank, because there's no organic thing to draw from, because she doesn't know who she is.
Right.
And when she starts to figure out who that is, she lets out real humanity and becomes a real character, and her portrayal of a real character was very good.
Yeah, once she understands and earns her confidence as a character, she starts... completely owns the character from that point.
And it's only after watching the whole movie that I realized that that's what was going on.
Uh-huh.
That's
it's a good observation. I appreciate that. I saw it twice. We're in opening weekend. I've seen it twice, just by happenstance. And I'm not sorry, and I would see it again. I really had a good time.
No, it was really good.
Couple of quick things. You can probably get these from the trailer. Nothing spoiler yet. We get a strong female lead kicking ass to strong female-led 90s songs. And that mixture that's my wheelhouse. Like that was that was amazing.
Even though it was probably too on the nose doing the "I'm Just a Girl" by No Doubt.
It was. It didn't bother me that it was on the nose. It just seemed like so much fun.
No, even though you kind of roll your eyes when it kicks off, it was actually perfect. Sometimes something being on the nose is because
you can roll your eyes all you want.
It's like when stereotypes, it's like you have to remember, most stereotypes aren't good, but they're rooted in at least a kernel of truth, and the same thing is the case here with it being too on the nose. It's on the nose for a reason because it is the perfect thing for that. Even if it's a little bit of an eye roll required.
There's a couple of... but if you're rolling your eyes, you're also tapping your foot to it, which is amazing. There's a couple of good... If you go online, if you go online... What am I? Who am I? If you get on the line, there is a few recuts, where they took the some of those fight sequences and they put different music to it. Similar style, but what if they did this song instead? And it's a lot of fun. Some Alanis Morissette.
It's basically the clue ending. That's how it could have happened. But
right. But that I really enjoyed. And anytime there was one of those things, I was just like, yeah, I agree with you. It was on the nose, but I was eating it up.
Yeah,
I loved it. So many good. Actually, another concern of mine was I knew there were going to be 90s references. Right, we got the Blockbuster reference right in the first trailer.
I saw some people complaining about that. The thing is, they did it show don't tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I really liked it.
They didn't we're in Blockbuster. They just put her in Blockbuster.
Yeah,
and they did one visual gag inside Blockbuster, and that was it.
Well, yeah, blowing away True Lies or picking up the right stuff off of.
Well, that visual gag wasn't a 90s thing. That was a self-referential meta thing. No, just looking around Blockbuster and blowing away the James Bond GoldenEye.
It was True Lies.
Cardboard cutout. Oh, no, was it?
Yes.
I actually thought it was, the lighting in the theater wasn't that great. I thought it was James Bond. I thought it was Pierce Brosnan and James Bond. No, it was... GoldenEye. Because it was in 95. It was that year. I thought that was actually him. There was a lighting issue in the beginning of the movie, and they finally turned them all the way down. And I was sitting farther back because there was actually a lot of people on a Sunday night at this movie, and I didn't have my contacts in. I actually thought that's what that was.
Who is this?
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is there's lots of 90s references, but like you said, they're not. I thought they were gonna do it up front and then they were gonna die out. But if you watch, they're peppered throughout the whole movie in a great way because they're not overdone. I don't think they're overdone.
That's what I'm saying. It's show don't tell. It's
amazing. I love it.
You know what I mean?
Even there's just a scene where we're going through. It's not spoilery. We're going through different configurations for what her suit can look like, and there's just this crazy neon one. And I'm just can we just have that one? I want that for the rest.
That wasn't 90s though. That was actually Tron 80s.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But oh man, I loved all that. We'll get into some of the more specific references in the post spoiler territory. I don't have much else pre-spoiler.
The only other thing pre-spoiler I'll say is, thank God the de-aging was really mostly very good.
Yeah, it was.
If anyone was concerned about that.
The only character, weirdly enough, that I feel like I noticed it on and had issue with was Coulson.
I thought it was because of that, but then I realized
it was other things.
It was because they were focusing on him. Well, post spoilers.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think that might be the reason. Because Anyway, that's it. This movie's fantastic. Go see it if you haven't already, and then come back and listen to our post spoiler talk, which is happening right now. Coulson. Yeah, when Ben Mendelsohn's character was, what's his name?
Phalos?
When he was being him. And
at first when they did it, I was like, that's a little weird. Why is he I thought he was just keeping his head stock still and staring.
Right.
There's a certain amount of because you can notice some stiffness of Samuel L. Jackson, the way he's keeping his posture, because that's how they have to do. They probably told him, hey, don't move your head around a lot.
Yeah, don't be swinging. Yeah.
Because it's going to make it a lot harder to put the effects on you. So you can notice that. But it's the noticing of him being stiff, not the noticing of the seams itself of the de-aging. So I thought that's what it was, is that he was being super stock still and wooden, until I realized afterwards, oh, it's because he's a Skrull and he's got this intensity and that's when I realized retroactively, there's nothing wrong with the de-aging. It's he's acting weird because it's not actually him. Because then the other scenes with Coulson looked fine when it was just actually...
Except maybe the final one. The hair was a little funky at the end, but that was just... hair is difficult, so I'm not going to...
Yeah, I didn't notice that, but I also wasn't looking for it.
One of the things that I mean, I don't want to jump like too far ahead, but I really wanted to get right into this. Ben Mendelsohn, he always bothers me because he's always supposed to. And he didn't in this. I loved him.
Let me just stop you there. I'm going to bring back this thing that we've done recently. Get this man a damn Oscar.
Yeah. For this movie. It just
reminds me how good of a fucking actor he is, like, for, like, so many other things. Like, the only reason he doesn't have an Oscar is because they've not given him a part, like, with enough screen time. Because if you see him with a fair amount of screen... I guess maybe something like Mississippi Grind, which I haven't seen and I've heard is really good, but at least he's the lead of that movie, so he would have had, like, an opportunity. And coincidentally, that was directed by the same two people who directed this movie. But he's won an Emmy for the first season of Bloodline. I didn't stick around and watch the second and third season of that show. The first season of that show is fucking amazing, and he is incredible in it. That was the first time I realized, oh shit, he is a really good actor.
Unfortunately, one of the scenes that sticks out to in my head when I think of him is the clean slate, the master tool for him. like that scene is the one that gets in my head, and immediately it cuts to the clip from College Humor of Badman doing it, where the clean slate. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch Badman on College Humor.
I listened to the Armchair Expert with him, except like last week or the week before, whatever. Again, very much not the episode I expected. I thought it was going to be like really funny because like he's a really funny dude, and it ended up just a lot of it was being like was way like darker than I expected. Not the same extent that the Jake Johnson one was, but still like this achieved probably a better balance. But yeah, not the episode I was expecting it to be.
I would love to see Pete Holmes do a stand-up somewhere.
He's a funny dude, and I feel sad that I killed Crashing.
Yeah, you monster. But Ben Mendelsohn, first off, I didn't know that he was playing the Skrull.
You didn't?
No, I didn't know it was him.
Did you know he was in the movie or not?
I knew he was in the movie because I see him in the trailer. As himself.
Oh, I actually don't even remember that in the trailer.
Which is why I didn't bring up him being a great actor before the spoilers, because I didn't know if anybody saw it the same way that I did, where like I didn't realize it was him when he was the Skrull.
Well, I remember when they casted, they said he was going to be Talos, the main Skrull villain. And I said, oh, okay. So from the very beginning, and also I know his like Australian accent, so like. When he's first on screen when they captured her, I was like, oh, there he is. Because like not like you'd recognize him, he's got like a prosthetic on his face, like he's playing an alien.
He was
so to the point
really
where when he
funny.
Finally played himself, I was like, that's funny.
yeah. That I think that's why I just assumed, I didn't realize like what was going on, that it was actually him. But his character was funny, man.
Yeah. Well, specifically
and more human.
When he shows up at the house sipping on...
Oh my god.
like a milkshake.
A milkshake? Slurping a milkshake? And then freaking out when the cat walks by? Yes.
Oh, yeah. But specifically, he just like walks in sipping a milkshake, which is like hardcore like villain power move.
Yep.
And it's also the time, like 90 seconds before we find out, oh, fuck, he's not even a villain.
Yeah.
Which... genuinely excellent twist.
Yes, I really appreciated that.
I think there was going to be more than meets the eye to the story because we've seen Guardians 1. We know the Kree are not actually noble warrior heroes. Mm-hmm. We know that largely the Kree tend to be pieces of shit. They seem to have straightened themselves out by Guardians, and we realize that Ronan is actually a splinter terrorist himself. He's not representative of the majority of the race, but we know that they have the propensity, and we know the fact that Horath is part of that strike team there's probably going to be more to the meets the eye with that whole storyline. But I assumed it was going to be one of those situations where she finds out she's between two warring factions of equally wrong people, and she'd probably defeat both of them and teach them all a lesson along the way, type of thing.
Yeah.
For them to completely upend the convention and have the Skrulls actually be the good guys.
That was great.
Didn't see coming. I understood that sort of thing was a possibility, but it didn't really cross my mind that would be the case for this.
You know why you didn't see it coming is because it did the Into the Spider-Verse thing. Step 2, learn about my own personal bias. You see creepy, like, you see alien that is made to look kind of scary and intimidating. You're like, oh, that's the bad guy.
Well, it's not just that, though. It's, weirdly, I actually do know something of the Skrulls, and I know for a long time people have been wondering whether it's going to kick off a potential for the next phase, a Secret Invasion storyline, because the Skrulls typically are the bad guys. Like, historically in the comics, the Skrulls are bad guys. Some version of bad guys. Their plots don't always end up being a huge deal, to my knowledge, but like they've impersonated superheroes and done nefarious things. They've infiltrated like governments the way that like Hydra has, like stuff like that. They're always the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because they're shapeshifters and they can infiltrate and do whatever they're going to do nefariously because no one knows the difference, right? So just that bit of background that I knew about them, I just assumed there was no chance that they'd be the good guys. I just assumed that we would find out somewhere along the way that them and the Kree are both equally bad.
Right.
Not that the good guys are the bad guys and the bad guys are the good guys.
Yeah, it is interesting. I appreciated that twist. I appreciated, like, just the fact that the shape-shifting twist and that, like, you know, in certain situations, like, you only get to pull a gag once. But they could pull it as many times as they want because it's a very, like, it's a very confusing thing, like the whole trust factor, and like, can we trust this person that I'm talking to? I don't know, and like it puts you on the edge of your seat for the whole movie because you don't know who's good and who's bad. And
well, not just that, but once they've reached a certain point of showing you that this was a thing that was going to happen a couple of times throughout the movie, they upped their game, and we're not just going to do it for deception's sake. We're going to find new and effective ways, resonating ways to do it. And again, this goes to the flipping the convention on its head, where it gets to the point where he's pretending to be her, but not for a bad reason.
Right.
Reason,
It's so good. I really liked that. This is a really funny thing. Until looking it up right now, I couldn't tell you what Jude Law's name was.
Jan Rog?
Yeah, I would not have been able to pull that out of the hat.
Well, the thing is, him and Min Irva were the only two whose names they actually said more than once. So I did know his name because they kept saying it. But I can understand why maybe you would be like, I kind of know it's a thing, but I don't remember what it is. You know what I mean? Like
John Rog, and you're like, bless you.
But the thing is, in the lead up to it, I saw the name referred to enough times that I knew that was the name even going into the movie.
Okay. All right, let me loop back here. So a couple of things, super early on, a very early spoiler, we mentioned it already, is the Marvel opening for this movie was fan-freaking-tastic. Replacing the flip screens with all Stan Lee cameos and appearances. Yes. That was so incredibly executed, so tastefully done. Like I felt emotional watching that happen. It was really wonderful to see. And then his cameo, near and dear to my heart.
Well, I know Kevin Smith said that he cried when he saw it.
Oh my god, I just watched a video today of him recounting the story of Kevin Feige calling him for the permission to do it. So he knew what was going to happen and how it was going to go down because they had to get the rights and licensing and all that shit. And also they needed some B-roll for the vocals because Stanley actually wasn't doing great when they shot that. So
this still isn't the last thing he's in, right?
I don't think so.
He still has at least Endgame, if not Homecoming, or Far From Home. I think. You know what? I think Far From Home might be the last one.
I think it would be okay. I don't know how other people would feel about it. I don't know how his family would feel about it. They should digitally put him in everything. They should keep it going. Keep the legacy alive.
The only problem I have with that is that after a certain point, it becomes Where's Waldo with a dead man.
Isn't it already? Like, it's like you're already looking for him.
Well, no, because he shot it when he was alive.
I know. But I would appreciate it if it was. I would not be one of those people that's offended by it. But it was just.
It would be better if you like found a way, maybe like if he was always in a picture frame at some scene at some point.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like if they used a still photo of him in a picture frame, or like his name was written somewhere. Like if they found like invented ways, like you're like in a college and it was like Stanley Hall or something like. You know what I mean?
I'm
like,
fine with that. Just
keep finding a way to include him, but I don't necessarily want them to keep putting digitalized versions of him.
That's fine, but I think we can get away with it maybe a few times or here and there.
I could see judicious application once or twice if there was a really good way to do it.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't want them to find ways to shoehorn that. If they're going to shoehorn it, I'd rather it be a little bit more tasteful. And like I said, putting like if he was like every time there's a scene inside of a house and like you got like family pictures on the wall, like he's always the grandpa.
That'd be amazing.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like or like Peter's in school and like you see him like walking out of like Lee Hall or something like. You know what I mean? Like.
Yep. No, that's fair. So, but when we do see him, he's reciting his lines from Mallrats, and he has.
Well, yeah. What was the line? Because the thing is, that was the one time I was slightly distracted, even though I knew the scene with the grandma was coming up.
Uh-huh.
And I knew it was him, and I realized it was him. But it took my a second for my brain to fully process and catch it because I got like a blast from like a group message, like my phone just started buzzing like crazy. So it drew my attention from the screen for a second, enough that I heard him talking. And I realized he was reading lines, but I didn't ever actually process what he said. What was he saying?
Trust me, true believer.
Okay. That's what he... Was he say that? Was that what he says when he pats his arm and walks off?
I don't remember exactly if it's earlier in the conversation or at the end of it, but yeah, it's when he's talking to Brody. Man, it just makes me want to rewatch Mallrats. I love that movie so much.
When I heard that... Because I didn't hear what it was. I just heard Kevin Smith cry when he saw or heard about that Mallrats Easter egg. I was wondering if they were going to do a bit of digital like trickery there. And I was wondering if, considering we saw the whole Blockbuster thing, if we were going to see a chase scene like go through the mall and like you see him having the conversation.
That would have been amazing. And that would have been a cool way to put him in after the fact.
Yes, I was wondering if that was what it was. This was cool too, but that would have been like perfect.
That or like I didn't know what the reference was going to be. I was like maybe Jay and Silent Bob will be like in the background somewhere.
No, I assumed. Well, the thing is, I was wondering about that too until I was like, duh, Stan Lee was in that fucking movie. Mm-hmm. Like it's going to be something involving his scene in the movie.
There is another funny thing, and I don't know if it's related at all. Or if it's just like a weird spot, but the dead scroll on the table, and Samuel Jackson lifts up the tarp and looks at his dick.
Yeah,
right. To see, and I don't know if you remember the scene in Mallrats, but he's obsessed with superhero penises.
Yeah,
and if that's all tied together,
questions keep coming.
Yeah,
a bunch of his questions to him was about it, and Stan Lee says something about it. To I don't remember the other guy's name, even though I've seen the whole. Does he say something to him when he's talking to him?
Like, I think you might want to be might be concerned with your friend's obsession with superhero genitalia or something along those lines.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my god, it's so funny. It just made me really happy. Also, they did it just the right amount of times. So when she's fighting the old lady in the train, same scene, punching the old lady in the face. The amount of background shots of people's reactions are fantastic.
Yes.
And especially when she finally gets off the train and there's two people that are just like their jaws dropped and the one person leans over and watches.
There's a few good things in that, right? Because the thing happens, she punches her and everyone's like, oh!
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They do that very theatrical, gasp watching the thing, and then they start fighting. And the grandma starts doing acrobatics and fighting back, right? And she, they get tied up, and a bunch of people grab her and pull her off the old lady. And then she breaks free, she's chasing whatever. They're fighting. More acrobatics. I'm like, after a certain point, you guys are all in the same car. You're watching the grandma do these acrobatics. You have to realize something's up, guys. Like, I understand your grandma is an alien, but like, you got to realize something more than meets the eye is going on here. Maybe let them settle their issues, and then let's figure it out. Because then they grab her again, and I'm like, can I stop? Like, you're frustrating me now.
I do like, though, that she just kind of like breaks free of them,
shrugs them off
effortlessly. That was great. Also, when the Skrull is leaving the train and transforms into that one guy who sees him doing it, and he like just the look of horror on his face as he sees himself jump off the train. Brilliant.
Yes.
And then he doesn't know anything about trains. He just touches that rail and electrocutes himself.
Fantastic.
Beautiful. So great. Oh man, it's this movie.
That's the sort of like incidental comedy stuff that's like a good indication of like good writing. Where it's not like a big setup thing where it's like, here's a set piece, there's a joke coming, boom, joke. It happens so quickly that you barely really get much time to process it, right? Before they're on to like the next thing. That's good writing.
Mm-hmm. It's well done. Well done. Applause for that.
I want to pause here before we get into another thing and ask you, if you were going to describe overarchingly, not like the synopsis, if you were going to give a description of what type of movie this was, what would you say this type of movie is? Because we've done this in our discussion of combating, superhero movie fatigue, right? And we talked about what like Captain America Winter Soldier isn't a superhero movie. It's a 70s style, like, spy thriller with superheroes, like stuff like that. We've done that sort of stuff. Like Ant-Man isn't a superhero movie. It's a heist movie with superheroes, like stuff like that. How would you describe this movie?
Ooh.
What genre of movie is this that involves superheroes?
That's a good question. Let me think about this.
Because I have an answer. I don't know what your answer is.
Like buddy cop.
Okay.
With like this, the relationship between her and Fury, and how they go from like, the distance and how that distance closes over time. And then they like by the end of the movie, they are buddies. Like I think that's I would go buddy cop.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because, in my estimation, and obviously we're kind of talking opinion here, that is a correct answer, but it's not the correct answer.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna tell you what I wrote down when I was thinking about this exact thing. This movie is part sci-fi epic, part different worlds buddy cop comedy, part amnesiac identity mystery, part period piece.
Yeah, okay.
It's all of those things and none of those things. Because the movie, like, kind of act by act distinctly changes between the first three things I said, and the fourth thing is kind of an overarching thing for 2/3 of the movie.
I'm glad you said that, though, because I actually have a note here that I thought was interesting, is that the movies have generally been split, like, where they, like, what kind of Marvel movie it is, and this is a mashup of cosmic and not cosmic, and it has like a little bit of identity crisis there, I feel like.
Yes, that's largely been the case, right? Whereas like Thor, like a 50-50 split, cosmic and planetary, like, you know what I mean? Like
until the last one.
And until Ragnarok, which is purely cosmic, and then Guardians are cosmic, and then the rest of them aren't. I'm not counting the Avengers because they transcend these other things. And the other ones all largely picked a genre and largely stuck to it, right? This one didn't, and I won't say it's a bad thing because I understand how and why. Because to give us this galactic tug of war that we discussed, right, over Earth. Well, not over Earth, but around Earth, where Earth is the rope. Even though, tug of war, you're not fighting for the rope; you're fighting for real estate, right? And in the same way, we're not fighting over Earth, but Earth is the conduit through which we're doing our struggle, right?
Right.
It was kind of necessary to fuse those things. So, at its worst moments, because it's just moments, the movie can feel just a little bit schizophrenic.
Mm-hmm.
But really, like largely, the seams don't show too often in this movie. No, it's the type of thing where it could have imploded because of all these different things competing with each other. But for something that did have so many different styles within the structure of the movie, they did a really admirable job of navigating that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. How did you feel about being back in like origin story mode?
I liked it, and here's why. This is an origin story that isn't actually executed as an origin story. It is an origin story for us.
Oh my god, Fifth Element. Sorry, I just it dawned on me what the movie was. That this movie is.
There's some Fifth Element aspects.
Go on.
I love that movie.
Sorry, I don't know where that came from.
So the thing is, this movie is an origin story to us because we don't know who Captain Marvel is. Mm-hmm. It's an origin story to her because she doesn't know who she is.
Right.
But the way it's actually delivered to us isn't an origin story, and that's why they can get away with it. Because I saw some of the reviews I read before I saw the movie were purely non-spoiler reviews. We're complaining about, how are we getting another origin story at this stage? Well, first of all, if you're going to keep introducing new characters, you're going to have to get some sort of origin.
You got to know who they are.
Even if it's not the whole movie, right? Mm-hmm. Either they have to be introduced at some point, but even like Black Panther, who was introduced, his movie is an origin story. It's one done very well. It's one that largely transcends the trappings of the origin story, but still is distinctly an origin story. Mm-hmm. This movie really doesn't have any of the trappings of an origin story. She is established from the first scene of the movie. She is a superpowered person. Mm-hmm. She's discovering who she is, but she already exists. She has a place in the world already.
Yeah, they like mementoed it.
Yes. And that's how they get around doing it as an origin story. They give you some of it as the memento treatment, where you have to pick the pieces of past, present, and future apart and figure out what order they belong in. So it's tricking you out of thinking it's an origin story because the way that they ultimately cut it up and delivered it isn't one. And that's how you get away with doing it at this stage in the game. And from that perspective, it's masterfully done. Yeah. Because she exists already. It's her origin to us as a viewer in the sense of we don't know who the character is. It's her origin of trying to figure out literally where she originates. Mm-hmm. And within like the context of it all, she has to figure out where she fits in, but she already has a place in this world.
Yeah.
And an established story that we find out is a lie. You know what I mean?
I loved all the twists and turns of it.
It's an origin to her as an Earth-based hero, but everything else about it does not have the trappings of an origin. She's not earning her power and then experimenting with her power and then feeding her exact copy of a villain, and then learning a little lesson along the way, right?
Yeah.
They largely transcend those things, except for at the end giving us a flashback of how she got her powers. Hmm? And we only get that not to fill in check the box of this is how she earned her powers. It's to deliver a crucial plot twist in the movie.
You're right. So good. It's well done. Okay, let's talk about for 1 second though. The fact that all this plot twisting happens is because they were the Kree were hoodwinking her this whole time. If you're gonna go this far, right? If you're gonna manipulate her into thinking she's one thing and not, you gotta know that calling her Vers because it's the other half of the dog, like Veers, whatever. It's because the other half of her dog tag. Don't. That just seems like a mistake.
Well, it wasn't. It was because that's the only information he had about her. He only had half the dog tag.
I know, but they used that as her name. Like they should have discarded that and given her a name.
Well, I imagine it's because they don't have dog tags. And was it Hala? Whatever the planet was. They don't have an analog. He didn't really know what it is, other than that it was an identifying mark. I don't think he really knew the specifics of what a dog tag was. You know what I mean?
But he should have been like, "What's your name?"
Well, that's the whole point. Is she's an amnesiac. She doesn't know who she is.
Exactly. So I'm saying you're using this name that somewhere in her subconscious will link her back to her actual self. You're setting yourself up for failure.
I don't think that ever was really. I don't think that that didn't end up being the important thing. What ended up being the important thing was when she saw a picture of herself on an airfield in Earth. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, that's fine. But she was going to get there eventually, is what I'm saying, because they used.
I guess so, but the thing is, based on what the trajectory of where everything center. It ended up being, I get what you're saying, and you're not wrong. It just ultimately was irrelevant. You know what I mean?
For sure. 100%. In the grand scheme of things, it was. Let's talk about two silly things that bothered me. One didn't really bother me too much. Just a funny note. When Fury, everybody calls him Fury. When Fury
Nicholas
just drives into the bus to kill the scroll that's with him, and gets out and that's not the part that bothers me. When he gets out and he holds his badge open, he says "official." That part bothered me a little bit. Official bothered me. I don't think I've ever heard anybody actually say that. Shield business. That's when I went, huh? Because it's a dumb thing. It doesn't matter at all.
It's a retcon.
Yeah, it's just that they don't know the name of Shield in Iron Man.
Well, which I would argue that it doesn't matter whether anyone knows. If you say it's official whatever business, 90% of people are going to be like, all right. You know what I mean? And then there'll be like 10% who silently say, the fuck is Shield?
No, I mean, Coulson doesn't, they don't have a name. They don't call it Shield until the end of Iron Man. They call it like the Strategic Homeland Initiative, whatever. And at the very end of it, he goes, just call us Shield.
Well, he says that at the end, but that wasn't because... I think it was just because he didn't think anyone was going to know who it was. That's why.
No, she said, she's like, wow, that's a mouthful. He's like, yeah, we're working on that name.
Yeah. Well, it is a bit of a retcon because you're right. No one prior to that would have called
it. It doesn't matter at all. It really doesn't. I just thought it was just a funny thing to notice. And the other thing that was actually bothering me, which this one is a hole unless you just accept it for maybe it being this, is that they're looking for this light speed engine, but they used some sort of light speed mechanic to get there, and I just assume that it's just way more powerful because it's using the space stone.
Wait, what?
They need the
no.
doctors.
What's the very last part you said? I know.
I assume the light speed engine that she was making is just way more powerful because it's using the space stone.
No, if you remember, the jump thing that they did was first revealed in Guardians 2. The only way that they can do these faster than light, like travel,
is when they find a gate or something.
Yes, there has to. So they're specifically placed. You can only travel to specific places from it.
Okay, this thing is just like any which way you just go.
Yes,
and but it has that. It would be able to do that because of the space stone.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But the thing,
I get behind it. Cool.
There is an important distinction of you're no longer tied to having to travel specific paths. You could travel any path.
That's not, if this is your only movie that you're watching, though, that's not clear to the viewer.
Yeah, I could see how you would say that, yes.
It's a little, that's I just find that to be, like, if they want to just spend a little bit of extra time explaining what's so special about this one.
Well, the thing is, they kind of compromised and half-assed it.
When they said we'll get there in 20-something hours or something like that.
Well, two things. One, that, and two, at the end, when the accusers are fleeing from her, he says, get us back to the window or something like that. Yeah. That's the only other real, like, allusion to it. And that's, again, is even if they're not fully describing, that should be enough for you to understand, like, okay, there's a specific mechanism and a specific vehicle way we have to travel this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, for sure. That makes sense. Yeah. For us, it's fine. For those that are paying attention to all this stuff, it's fine. I could see that being, if this is the only movie you're seeing, being like, I don't...
Yeah, that never really crossed my mind because I remember them explaining it in Guardians 2. Even though I actually only saw most of that movie one time. I've seen the end actually like 2 more times, like the last 20, 30 minutes of the movie. But I only saw the whole movie once, but it stuck with me because of how entertaining it was when they ultimately flip it on its head, when they're bouncing between all the things. I remember the whole, like, the more or less the mechanics sticking with me in my mind. So this was already a bit of learned knowledge coming into the movie that I never questioned or second guessed it. I already got the distinction.
Yeah.
Because he says, how many gate jumps is this? And he goes, like, 20. He goes, you're not supposed to do more than 4 or something like that.
There's a bouncing around, his eyes are popping out of his head. That's so good. One of Jude Law's character, what's his name again?
Jan Rog.
The whole...
Sorry, what did you just say?
Jan Rog?
Yeah, okay.
the whole manipulative, like, controlling mentor figure, like that it's actually, if you look deeper, it is really dark, creepy, and it's like there's a real story buried in there.
Well, yeah, because when you're first presented with him, it's like, okay, like, this guy's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
But he does seem to genuinely like her. Like, it's like the tough love mentorship where it's like, I'm going to kick your ass up and down the thing, but, like, he seems to, like, have, like, an actual, like, affection for her, right? Where, like, she comes and wakes him up, like, he's talking her through it, and he is genuinely teaching her.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't expect the facade will ever break, or at least not anytime soon, when, like, she can still be useful to him.
Right.
And then
when the whole relationship is built on lies.
Yeah, when you realize just how much it's a lie and how little he cares, it's like, oh man, you're putting on a good performance.
Yeah, and just like the fact that he's so manipulative to the point where at the end of the movie, when he's like telling her, like, now, you know, if you could defeat me hand to hand, like he's still trying to get in her head and being like,
that was funny.
That and then when she, oh my god, when she Indiana Jones him into that rock, I was thrilled.
Using Indiana Jones as a verb in that specific context is incredible.
You're welcome.
Like, because I'm pretty sure people have used Indiana Jones as a verb before, just not for that definition.
Yeah.
Like, usually it's like swinging with the whip or something like that, or using a whip as a weapon, not the
or like picking something up and replacing it with something of the same weight. But not a food poisoning shot to the belly. No, that was amazing though. With the animation of him getting hit by that blast and then flipping through the air into the rock like really fast, it made me laugh out loud. Like, it was like uncontrollable burst of laughter. That brings me to, I actually have a list here of fun lines. Would you like to go through them?
Sure, because that's the one thing that I lose a lot of times. Like, people a lot of times come into movies and, like, start throwing around quotes. It's like, I gotta see it, like, at least one more time to, like, I'll enjoy it and be like, I'll remember, oh, there was a good line. Mm-hmm. Cannot remember any of the words in it. Yeah. I don't know why. So, I just can't do it.
The first one I have here is not a line so much as it is a sound. And that is when Carol's captured, when Veers is captured, she's on the scroll ship upside down, and she breaks out and she starts fighting her way through. One of the scrolls does like this scream, and then she just yells at it. She just goes, ah! And fights it. I was like, that's amazing. That made me really happy. So that was one. The next one is a classic, is what I should have called you at the beginning of the show, and it's when Fury gets his eye scratched out and he yells, "Mother Flurkin." Loved that. And that brings me to in the after the Flurkin eats the Tesseract.
Yes.
He says, "I'm trusting you not to eat me."
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh my god, it is going to take his eye out."
Yes.
Because of the line from Winter Soldier.
Confusing.
Why is that?
Well, I think everyone, especially once they showed the prominence of him playing with the cat, was like, okay, he's going to lose it because of the cat. But, like, he gets hit in the eye earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
And ends up being fine.
Yep.
And then the thing scratches him and they're like, oh my god, are you okay? He's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Like, it stings a little.
Yeah.
But no, it fucked up your eye and you're blind?
Yeah, he's just like fighting it. I don't know why. Like, I think he's just trying to be tough.
Like, it would have, like, if it was the whole thing after all that, like, he just like scratches like, oh shit, and like then the next scene he's in an eye patch, then it's funny and it like fits and it works, and like you don't have to say anything. Like, again, show don't tell. Like, like that's how you do it. It just ended up being a little confusing at the end because he's like, no, I'm fine. It's like, well, no. Eventually, we find out you're blind in that eye. Like,
right.
Like, what are we doing here?
I just love that it syncs up with his line from Winter Soldier. Last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye.
Yeah. And from that perspective,
and then putting that line in there was wonderful.
Can we talk about the Flurkin?
We can. How it was my old cat Mikey.
Yes, he was very reminiscent of that cat.
Yeah, that was also one of the best post-credit scenes I've seen it in a long time.
Oh, terrible.
When he jumps up on the desk, I was like, yeah, he's gonna hairball the Tesseract out.
Yep.
There it is. Well,
actually, the only thing I was torn between was it gonna be the Tesseract or was it gonna be that random henchman here?
Oh my god, if it was one of the people, that would have been even better.
Yes.
I didn't even think of that.
Yes, like that was the only question in my mind.
Alien just gets thrown up on the desk.
But like, at that point, it's gonna have to be like a corpse.
Yeah, like a digested.
It actually would have been great if it was a skeleton, but very obviously like
not human.
Like, yeah, although I guess the Kree basically were human.
Yeah,
I've always been a little confused by that, like in those movies where. That like other aliens aren't just like humanoid, like they're just human. Like if all the Kree were blue, I'm good with it. But like half of them aren't.
Some of them have English accents.
Yeah, I'm good with accents.
I'm fine.
I'm cool with that part of it. I just don't like that like on Xandar, like they're not human, but they're human. But like if they're like John C. Reilly's like pink wife, then like I'm fine with it. If they're like Ronin like Kree blue, like I'm good with it.
Well,
like you can make them humanoid.
It's the difference between like a really, really, really like stark white, like a really pale person and a really black person.
Yeah, something like that. Like something to make them other than human. Like if they're like Kree blue, if they're Gamora green, like I'm good with that.
I'm saying though the blue and the white works in the same way that like a white and a black would work. No.
No.
Hang on, I got this. I think I have a solution for this. What if when you tan on their home planet and you're fair skinned, you get like a tinge of blue?
If the issue I have is if they're not going to be like evolutionary process, even within our own planet, is so dramatic that like we can call two different like spiders or two different birds, they're both still spiders or birds, even if they look so different or so different in size, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like a human they've always been a little bit odd on describing whether or not those other places in the cosmic aspects of it are other parts of the galaxy or even other galaxies entirely.
Oh yeah.
They shouldn't be human. You know what I mean? Like there need to be something distinctly other if they're not going to be physiologically completely different. So I'm okay with that because it means like honestly, there's constrictions of like budget, right? Where it's like, okay, we can't realistically put 50 people in these ridiculous prosthetics like we would do Skrulls or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like a Skrull is very humanoid but distinctly physiologically different.
Yeah.
If you're going to give me the Kree that functionally are human in appearance, just make them a different color. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's fair. I guess it is a little strange. Is he the only one that wasn't blue?
No, the one whose name I never actually heard and I only saw because I looked it up a little while ago, although I immediately forgot it again, who looked like a knockoff of Tormund from Game of Thrones, and is also actually from Norway as well. That guy was normal human.
No, he was blue.
No. There was another guy who was. Min Irva was a different color. She was blue, I think. The sniper. But then Horath, the one who ends up being Ronin's like top henchman, was just a normal black guy. It's Demon Honshu.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, that is weird. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, there's not a lot of consistency there. It's strange. I mean, it doesn't really bother me too much, but it does make it difficult when you mix and match the different planets and races together. Then it's hard to figure out like where each person is from. I can see that.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, just give me like they can be otherwise completely human. Just make them a completely different color. Make them all like the same. Oh, like they don't have to be the same shade of blue. They can be different shades of blue, like the way that humans are different shades of white, black, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I understand.
Like make Kree blue, make Xandarians pink. Do whatever.
It would be easier to track.
Yeah, this way, like we know, like that's what we're dealing with. Like, okay, they functionally are basically human, but like they are distinctly not from Earth, and that makes them stand out too. Like Star-Lord, we know is a human from Earth, but it's only because they tell us that because he's on Xandar and everyone there looks like him,
right?
And they're not humans from Earth.
I don't know. I wonder if there's like some pattern or something. There may be. They might have their reasons. Not really shared with us, but there's two other lines I have here. The first might actually be my favorite one, which is it's dumb and it's meant to be it's meant to be like your favorite line of the movie type thing. But when she says, "Tell me something about you that nobody knows," and he goes, "When toast is cut diagonally, I can't eat it." Like, and that I found that to be genuinely funny because that almost, to me, the way that played, and it was probably written, but it played in my head as if like they went through a cycle of just say something ridiculous.
I'm guessing it was probably improv, honestly.
It might have been, and if so, amazing, because like that was really funny. And then when she said, he's like, "You didn't need to know that, did you?" And she just shakes her head. And when he says, "Prove to me you're not a scroll,"
she just blasts the jukebox.
And just like with the conviction with which she says, "Scroll can't do that."
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know that. What was that? He goes, "What was that?" "Photon blast." Like, what a great response. So ridiculous. Okay. I have one final note, and then I'll hand it over to you if you have any others. But one thing that really, the end of the movie, what was so epic is when he's writing the Protector Initiative, and he looks at the picture, and he sees that it says Carol Avenger Danvers.
That was cool.
That was cool, but what was really cool was kicking the music in.
Yeah.
The musical cue for the Avengers theme as he reads it, and then they don't... oh my god, so good. And then not showing you him actually changing the words just because it's like, you know. You know. That was amazing to me, but what bothered me so much was there were these two chodes sitting next to me. And one of them... I
have not heard that word in a while.
One of them goes... "Oh, come on." I'm like, look, this is like this exact scene. This is why you're here. So if this is not what you're about, get out.
Forget about that. At 21 movies in this series, the whole point of this series at this point is that moment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The whole thing is built around moments where you do kind of want to eye roll, but even more than that, you're like, I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
All right.
It just like that bothered me so much. I like these two idiots, like just these jabronis. Like they were bothering me so much because there was that, and then earlier on was when she crashed through the roof of the Blockbuster, and they found it to be hysterical. I'm like, you've seen the trailer like
6 times.
Like, I know you saw it. I don't know who you are, but I know you saw it.
Like, if you're sitting in this theater, there's no way you didn't see that already.
Right. And it's just like, so it's not like, why are you heartily laughing just so that people think that you find it funny? Like, I don't really get it. Like, it was too much.
Yeah.
And then oh, come on. It's just like, screw you. And then when the final scene with the cat hairbowling up the Tesseract, one of them goes, "Really?" I'm like, leave. Nobody's making you stay through the credits.
No, I actually slightly agree with that one in the sense that I don't mind them giving me that one. I just wish they had given me 2 like useful ones, and if they put that in between the 2.
Now, I like, if you notice the pattern lately, the post-credit scene that matters usually happens mid-credits.
Yes.
And if there's one afterwards, it's just for fun.
But I also, like, to a certain extent, like, I've also been spoiled by, like, Guardians 2 that had, like, 5.
Patience. That was the best one. That was in Spider-Man.
It was also the biggest fuck you.
Yes.
But because it was such a fuck you, it was funny. But the problem is, like, this one is kind of in the mold of that and doesn't do quite as good of a job as giving you the middle finger.
I didn't think it was relevant. It shows you how the Tesseract comes back.
I guess, but I mean, I feel like you can kind of read between the lines and know that they got it out eventually.
Yeah, but at least now you're not left to wondering how.
I guess so.
Although, if he digests the Tesseract, does he just like disappear and go somewhere else? Like, what's gonna happen to that cat?
I don't know. Maybe he absorbs it the way that she absorbed the whole.
Oh my god, photon cat? Are you kidding me?
You just see him burp and it just blasts blue energy.
Amazing. Oh man, I want that movie. The
only other real thing I had here was I just wanted to talk a little bit about the action part of this, because I know that's something that you've been paying more attention to, in the sense of whether or not it checks the box of keeping you interested.
Yeah.
And what did you think of it?
A lot of the fighting, I don't know. I wasn't bothered by it as much as I have been as of late. But while I was watching it, I was just like, okay, I'm just waiting for the story to progress. The fact that they peppered in some comedy with it and some like story mechanics, helped. The Fonzie lunchbox helped.
That's definitely true. The other thing for me that and I think it's something I've touched on a few times, maybe you have as well. Show me something new.
Yeah.
Which they did do a couple of times. Because I will say largely the action was fairly generic, but none of it was offensive. And the generic stuff either was part of like chase thing or whatever, where like that's progressing, so it's okay with whatever was in it. But some of it was generic, but it never overstayed its welcome. Like you didn't get like long sequences of generic action, so you can get away with it that way. But there was a couple of scenes in particular that showed me something that had it visually stand out from other things in the Marvel movies,
like flying through a ship.
That was part of it.
Amazing.
But no, really specifically, the first scene with the strike team on that planet when they're going to meet with the contact, when they show the unit fighting together, and they're like, because they're such a tightly wound unit where like they work together for so long, they actually fight with such a synergistic style where they're actually playing off each other.
Yeah.
Kind of the way that the Avengers did in the first Avengers. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Because it was a different, instead of a bunch of different, stylistically different brawlers who were meeting together for the first time and experimenting, this was like choreography of these people know each other like the back of their hand. That was executed in a really cool way that like I liked.
Yeah, it was like a fighting game where each character has to be unique, but the people playing knew how to play those characters.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. That was pretty cool.
That I like because I think that's a really cool.
It was also a quick fight scene. It wasn't too long.
It was a quick fight scene and it was frenetic action, but there was like a balletic component to it, which is really cool. Like if
Solid
you're gonna do
that,
that's how you sell me. Is I've never seen that sequence before. You know what I mean? And then some of the stuff at the end where she's figuring out how to really unleash her powers against the group of them. Some of that was really cool too.
Yeah,
because we get to get a larger sense of the suite of powers that she has and the different ways that, because it's really, I guess, technically one power that she finds multiple different ways to display.
Right.
That I thought was cool. That you see typically through the quote unquote origin thing, but it's like it wasn't done in hey, we're learning together type of way.
Right.
It's the way that you actually, you know what it reminded me of is when you play a video game and you get to the end game content where you have a really good mastery of your own powers and it becomes second nature that you can use them in these different ways and mow through enemies that used to give you a harder time earlier in the game. From that perspective, I thought that was kind of a cool way to show that.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with that. It was, her coming into her own at the end there and like figuring it all out was a lot of fun, especially once she gains the full confidence of her powers. That's like it becomes really fun.
Yeah,
especially when she fires up the ship that she put Jude Law in.
Yeah,
when she shoots it just to make it like to kickstart the engine.
Yeah,
it flies off. That was great. Loved it. Man, that was a fun movie. It was a fun movie to watch both times.
Yeah, I had a good time with it, and it really. There was a little drag in that Act 2-3 transition, but that's really it. It was.
Oh my god! I just remembered one more amazing scene.
What?
When they have the disc in the computer.
Oh yes.
What's happening? It's loading.
You know, the funny thing is again they kind of did that Family Guy thing where. They loaded the thing, and it starts loading relatively quickly. I was like, oh, man, this is a perfect opportunity for them to play how long it takes. And then all of a sudden, it just hit that fucking wall, which everyone knows. Anyone who's used a computer in, like, between, like, 1995 and 2005 knows that wall, like, especially when you get a new computer, and it's still new, and it works pretty well back then. But then all of a sudden, you get that, like, it's like, oh, remember how it used to take us 45 minutes to download this thing? it takes like 5 minutes. This is great.
Yeah.
But then after like the fourth time you've downloaded something, it's back to taking like 25 minutes. And it's like, you see it, like you fire it up, it's like, oh, it'll take 6 minutes to download. It's like, great. But then 30 seconds in, it now says 3 days to download. It's like, what happened here?
What is time?
And that was kind of what they did with that thing. And I was like, oh, okay, I see what you did.
That was good.
My emotions a little bit, and it's good. What's going on?
That reminds me of two other things. One, while they say that, I don't think he's either eating or drinking something, and he just casually says loading, which I thought was great. The other thing is when they're talking about the coordinates, and he goes, they're not coordinates. They're just like physics. Like they rattle off exactly what it is, and he's just so let down by his science guy. He's like, come on, man, you're my science guy. And Fury, with a face full of turkey sandwich, goes, we're going to space?
Well, also great that the callback after that is, oh, could you do this? And he goes, oh, yeah, we just fixed a couple of seals, like, and it'll work. So he goes, there's my science guy.
Yeah.
That's good writing. You get that call in response. Like,
and then as they're going through space, as they're going through the atmosphere, and it's rumbling, and I think, I don't know if it's Fury is like, is this normal? And
she goes, yeah, perfectly normal. And Taylor just shakes his head no.
When they go into orbit and the cat's floating, but like grabs onto his arm and like curls up to get close to him. It's so good. Oh man, dude, I'm excited to own this one. We mentioned steelbooks a little earlier. I'm actually not going to get the steelbook of this one. My steelbook choices are based on two things. One,
largely importance to you.
Was that?
I said largely it's based on importance to you.
Right. If you are like one of my favorites, I will get the steelbook. The other is art style. Some of these steelbooks have incredible box art.
Well, to say a lot of that comes down to you have to see what the specific.
Right, and I saw it and it doesn't do anything for me. So I was just.
Oh, do they already announced?
Yeah,
it?
You can. If you go on Best Buy, you can see what it looks like.
Oh, that's weird. I figured it wouldn't be until they got closer to it actually being released because it's not going to be for or more months.
You can already pre-order it, so
that's kind of surprising to me.
Yeah. But anyway, that's it. You have anything else?
Nothing important. This has been a long episode, so
wrap it up. Sweet. That's all for this week's episode of Flix and a Six. We hope you enjoyed it. Tune in next week for more movie and beer goodness. Until then, I'm Anthony Costanzo.
Oh, and I'm Al Bielsi.
Thanks for coming out.